And we're live. Welcome to episode 142 of the DCP podcast. This week, Mylan shaves his beard and gets a face tattoo.
Hey, listen, I don't think anyone would notice, but yes, I went a bit too hard on my mustache because it was in my lips and I was eating me mustache.
Did
so
you
I
like
gotta trim this
slip?
back.
Is that what happened? Like you do one of them like, oh, that's too much. Now I got to even it out.
No, I just got the beard trim and I was like, what do I normally do again? Because you forget every single time.
Yes.
A three should be fine. Meep, meep. I'm like, that's way too short. Way too short.
Why
you
didn't you match the beard?
You didn't go with the
after?
rest though. Why didn't you just match the whole thing?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't want to. I was already too deep. I didn't want to dig the hole anymore. So I thought, no, just.
Do you guys
It was
have
right
that
back.
when you
It's
go to
just
the
the
barber and they're like, you say, can you shave my head? And they say, what number do you want? And I say, I don't fucking know. That's your job to know that, not mine.
I hate it when I
Yeah.
go to the hairdresser and they're like, "What do you want done?" And then I'm like, "Hey, how dare you ask me? You do what looks best on me, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't ask me my opinion."
This is why I came to you, and I'm not home doing it myself.
See, I do that even when I am home doing it myself and my wife's doing it. I'm like, I don't know, just whatever looks good.
My
So,
wife,
my-
I love when my wife cuts my hair, but she's not very good at it. But I like it anyway. It's just kind of nice to have somebody working on your head. You know what I mean?
It's very nice not to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's too.
yeah.
And it's free. Well,
And it's free.
somewhat free.
So $200 clippers were not free, but yes, everything else is free. Up to
Danny's mum's a hairdresser, so like
Oh.
my mother-in-law, and she's been cutting my hair ever since we've basically.
She doesn't
started
work on
going out,
beards,
so
though.
it's-
Apparently,
She what?
doesn't work on beards.
Damn.
Doesn't work on beards? Oh yeah, no. And we've been going. We've been together for like 10 years, and I had my first haircut that I really liked after like 8 years or whatever.
Oh.
Like 10 years, like a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, this is really good. Do this every time. I was like, what did you get? I showed her a picture of what I wanted and all this kind of stuff. I was like, what did you do? She's like, I just did whatever I want. I was like, well, why haven't you been doing that for the last 8 years? This looks great.
Yeah, I trust the professionals, right? They see a
Yeah.
lot of heads. They see a lot of different hair.
That's
They
right.
see a lot of faces. They know
Yeah.
what looks good on stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I barely
me
know
up.
what I look like.
Mhm.
No idea.
I avoid
Yeah,
myself in
haircut.
the mirror too. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, look at myself in the mirror first thing in the morning is not going to improve my day. Like, oh.
But it's like, you see, I saw these videos where it's like, yeah, here's how to do makeup based on your face shape. I'm like, I don't know what the hell my face shape. I don't know what I look like, man. I can't figure this out.
We
Hey,
got like a
professionals come
V and then like
You know?
an oval around this area.
He's saying ice cream cone. That's the symbol. Ice cream cone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tesla ice cream.
I
Test.
need
that's
like
nice.
the Reddit roast me post of Watts or something.
Oh man,
like
I don't
that.
understand
can
why
get on Reddit
anybody
now.
would do that. Why would
I
you
know,
subject yourself
I need,
to
I
that?
need to feel something. Yes.
Yeah.
Reddit's down. Can't do it.
Yeah,
That's
can't do
true.
it.
Yeah,
Reddit's gone.
but man, like, just like, hey, roast me. What are you like? What are you? What is wrong with you? Why would you do that to yourself?
You just got to bring yourself down a peg, you know. When
Yeah,
you're
why
feeling
would you?
too confident about the world.
I know some people do have like a humiliation kink. kind of
Oh,
thing,
okay.
So
So
That
it's a
is true.
sex
maybe
thing.
it's just
I should've
it
known.
might just be.
Should have
It might
known.
be. It could be. I don't see why else you'd do it. When you
Make
feel
Papa
insecure
feel
there.
dirty.
Jesus.
What the hell's going
I'm
on
gonna
this
take
week?
this off.
So Destiny is a video game. Yeah.
It
It's
is.
my favorite game. What has been going on? You tell me.
I don't know. We haven't been able to
Mylan
log into
I was
check.
like, Mylan, come on, Mylan, you
Mylan-
told me not to bother catching up on the story, so I didn't.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
you
did
got
that. What happened?
chat.
I forgot.
Mylan, you got chat in your.
Chat
Who's
is the
in
Android of the
window?
podcast. It's
Who's spawning in the
Cedric
stream? Cedric?
doing commands and stuff. What are you doing? But I will say, I did try and catch up with the story, right? I fully went in, planned to catch up on the story. I was doing the salvage to do the week's story, killed the boss. Destiny crashes right as the boss goes down. So I load back in, 2 seconds to spare. I'm like, oh my god, maybe I can get the chest. And it didn't count for the story, so I was like, well, okay, I'm not gonna do it.
It didn't count?
It did not count.
Oh, because
it
you
didn't-
logged
it
in
didn't
so late,
progress.
you think?
I think I have to open the chest for it to count
Oh, okay.
for the story. That would be my guess. But yeah, it didn't count. I think I might have figured it out though. I think Destiny, my current Destiny with all the updates they've been doing, it doesn't like game overlays. So it started not liking me using Shadowplay. I tried getting rid of the Steam overlay. Didn't crash today, so maybe.
Oh, really?
You use the Steam overlay?
Yeah.
What do you use
Yeah,
it for?
like your friends tab. and
It's just
all that kind of
automatically
stuff.
on, yeah. And like the store too, when you like buy anything, it brings that over.
I hate. You know what I hate
Um,
about the Steam is the Friends tab. Every time you log in, it's like this person requested a friendship. This person requested a friendship. This person requested
Notifications,
a friend.
yeah.
Like, just stop. Just stop.
Turn
I'll
off
look at you when
notifications.
I'm ready. How about that?
You can turn
just-
off
I-
notifications.
Yeah, but when you have like multiple PCs, like they just kind of you forget, you know.
Just picture you getting pissed off
Uh,
every single time and just like, I can't take the 30 seconds to turn them off.
Yeah, basically that's accurate.
We did get another Veil containment, scrap piece of paper about what's been happening
I
with
watched
the Veil.
Mylan do it. Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
And then I
mhm.
was the big brain. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you give
Put it all
the
together.
clickbait topic? Yep.
I did.
What
yeah.
was it? Okay, what was the topic?
Cade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what about Cade? Huh?
It's the secret is Cade and the Exos and the communication Horizon and the Veil.
Yeah. They gave a little bit of details about Exo's billboarding and why it was happening when they first founded like Neomuna and discovered the Veil. All the Exos were like dying, and they brought up how Clovis Bray previously transferred Exo's mind was using Radiolaria and Darkness, what they called Clarity, and thinking that Exos were getting overloaded by the Veil. But they could potentially transfer information or like fabricate consciousness using the Veil and like a Clarity infused object. So overall, it's interesting to bringing up Exo stuff and the Veil with the announcement of Cade 6 and whether he's going to fit into that story in some way, and that they've gone back to bringing up quite old lore about like Exo mind transfer stuff with Darkness and Radiolaria from the Vex. So could be something.
So when I first saw you do it, I was like, that explains why Cade is talking to Ikora. Like there's some kind of link there with him being the light guide or something. It seemed related.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very loose connection at the moment, but that's where my mind went anyway. It's because these weekly story missions about the Veil are meant to be giving us vital information to work towards the final shape, and it's sort of focused on the Exos for a couple weeks now. So interesting.
Yes.
So Watts, when you say that like he's like guiding light for Ikora kind of thing, are you saying like you don't think Cade is really gonna be back? It's more like back in terms of like consciousness in the Veil sort of thing.
Yeah, I think there's it's more so that there's been a way for us to interact with Cade, not that he's like fully back.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that does
Yeah.
make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool
actually
too.
be his consciousness, or would that be the consciousness of a being that's actually with us?
I'm just using like his body to communicate.
Image.
I feel like with this lore, it would have to be actual Cade's consciousness, but it makes it interesting though because it fixes like a lot of people are kind of upset that Cade is being used as like a marketing thing of like come back to Destiny, Cade's back, like
Yeah, I have
like
heard
and it
that.
kind of cheapens.
Let him
the
do it. Let
death.
him cook.
Yeah, but if he really is dead and this is just his consciousness, almost like an epilogue to Cade's story, that could actually go really well both ways. Like, yes, we get Cade back. Yes, we get like a final thing with the final shape as well. Like, it all could come together to be a meaningful end, but have everybody there in a way without actually bringing them back to.
It's like when Luke sees
reality.
Obi-Wan at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's Jedi stuff.
Nice.
Base man.
Yeah,
Star
like
Trek's a
with
good movie.
now that I reread it, it does sound like that because it says Maya thinks she can reverse engineer this phenomenon, use it to write data to a clarity infused object, or fabricate consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Fabricating the consciousness of Cade.
Cade.
What's
It
number
works
5
with
lore
Exos.
master?
I think that
Can
bumps me
everyone
up to
stop being
least
good at
number 2.
law, please? Just drive me up the wall. Let me have something.
Hey, I will say
I've been
the
watching a
lore
lot of Aztec Cross
competition-
videos, so I kind of
Yeah.
caught up.
The lore competition you put up this week was amazing, Mylan. I was laughing out loud.
That was
It's
very
particularly
good.
not on the lore part, but on the sparrow race. But it was amazing.
Thank you. It was a good time. There are a lot of work to like organize and write, and writing multiple choice questions is actually harder than you think.
Mhm.
I can only imagine.
It's around law topics, and yeah, it's a really good time. So
Yeah.
thanks for watching.
Go watch
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
Drop your paint scratchers on the Cade Mine video and the lore quiz video.
We need a
I
new
put out
T-shirt.
4 videos. Put out 4 videos this week.
That's a lot of work.
I know how to get as
That's
a
a lot of
t-shirt
video.
real fast. You go on to Twitter, you put a picture of the image you want on a t-shirt, and you say, "Oh boy, howdy, I sure would love this image on a t-shirt." And then you have 800 bots offer the t-shirt for you.
Nice. That
With
sounds
a
easy.
convenient link.
Yeah. Taint scratcher, huh?
Mylan, did you by chance have time to do those 4 videos while Destiny was down?
No, but-
subtle
Martin was
dig.
waiting for this to come back up to make the video.
So this has been this recent sort of change in, well, for me anyway, for my channel. I used to be able to spend a week making a lore video, and it didn't really matter if it was like topical or not. People were kind of just interested in watching it, and it would get good views regardless. I don't know if it was just Lightfall and a general change in like video content in the Destiny community, but just sort of stopped working. Like people, the more effort I put into stuff, the less views it got. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be like everyone else. I'm going to get on and reset. I'm going to make the most clickbait topics I possibly can, which is where Cade came from.
Nice.
And you know, just talk about the lore. And yeah, so I was up at up at midnight, went to bed at like 7, got as many hours as I could sleep, got up at midnight, started the stream. Destiny servers are down. I was like, yeah, shit, straight to Twitter. I was like, come on. Yeah, and then I was like, man, I could have slept into like 3, 4 a.m. Got like so much more sleep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't super angry because I got to play Final Fantasy demo, but
Nice.
I don't know, how often does that happen? Because now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't get up at reset and I
Been
should
like 3
sleep
or
in a
4
little.
weeks in a row, I swear.
Yeah.
Is it in a
It's
row?
pretty frequently.
Yeah.
It is pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the reset. I had the reset experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad the last few weeks for sure.
Mm. The thing is, I know something big is going to happen in the story, so I kind of want to be there when it happens. So
Sure.
that's why I've been getting up to have a shot at it. But
Isn't the next week or the week after the last story stuff that we
yeah,
have as well?
whenever the next story is, it week 6 normally that they do that on? I have to have a look.
Was it week 6 or week 8?
I don't know.
There might be 2 because I think there's
It
like
depends.
what, 10 or 11 steps still in that quest.
Hmm.
I was just doing it based on
Always
that.
a good indicator, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got it done in the Destiny downtime, I guess, sort of.
Yep.
Few more story weeks. Okay.
3 more?
That's all I got for you, story wise.
What's going on with Whale Watch?
Whale Watch, Asa. I started looking into why Sloane got taken and the backstory with Asa and Sloane. Pretty big, like, narrative hole at the moment, which I don't know if it will get solved. Pretty much like why Asa encouraged Sloane to get taken powers and what the deal is with the bond between Asa and Sloane, because they are like bonded.
Yeah.
And that's like a theme that comes up in the lore. I'm not too sure. I've read everything this season to deal with it, and I don't have an answer for it. But I did find something really cool, which will be the next video, and I can't tell you because there's too many spies in chat, and it'll get out, and it's big. It's big. I was rereading all the lore, and I was like, whoa, that's the next video.
Oh, nice.
You have to wait and see.
Every time they do the end of the story each week, I feel like it's a private moment because there's Sloane and Asa. They like look at each other and they do that thing, and then Asa goes, and like closes his eye like so slowly and kind of sensually, and I'm like, is this like, what, am I interrupting here? Like, should I private moment? I don't know. It was weird every time. I don't know if anybody else gets that sense too.
It feels that way any cutscene at the end of a seasonal
That's
thing
true,
though.
you're
Like
not
every
wrong.
single time there'll be like a private conversation between like Saint and Osiris, and you're like, I feel like I'm definitely intruding right now.
Tension here.
I think the worst of that was with Idokel and her dad, and they're having like a very family argument. I'm just sitting there like, tell me to shoot things.
Family drama.
I guess sometimes
mean-
it's okay to be a silent protagonist.
I think Drifter was talking to someone this season, then he like walked through me after it. I was like standing there, and the dude was like, like
Yeah, that was this
pushing me
last
out the
week.
way.
I'm pretty sure.
Was it this last
I
week?
think
Yeah.
it was,
so.
yeah.
That's
I
gonna be the
noticed
big
that, and I was
reveal
like,
at the end
okay,
of
all
10
right,
years
see?
is that we've been dead all along. It's like the Sixth Sense
Yeah.
all over
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
So we got a big ass twab this week, and we want to go through that.
There is
It's not a
quite
twab.
it's a
Twib.
freaking twid, man. It's so
He got-
bad.
he's a
Stop
twid.
it.
He's not.
It's
Doesn't
bad.
sound
It's
good.
bad. I don't like it. Twab was
I-
good.
I don't like change. Can we go
We have
back to the
shirts
twab?
with Twab on it. Just do the marathon and Destiny news the same goddamn day and call it a Twab. This week at Bungie, here's
Just has
all
to
the
be
stuff.
Same week. Just has to be the same week.
It
right?
does, yeah, it just has to be the
Doesn't have to
same
be the
week.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just gone Destiny twab and Marathon twab.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not like, are they marketing their Twabs? Do they need separate names? Separate
D-twab, D-twab, and twab.
acronyms? Yeah. I like it. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, you're selling me.
That's much better.
Twab. I have not read it. I
Okay.
think
Oh,
Lego has.
I have.
Lego's
thank
got
God.
notes. Lego is
I-
the Twab master of notes and telling us all the important stuff.
At least when it comes from the Sandbox team.
The thing that I was excited to see in here is they made a rainbow emote.
Yeah.
And this emote is super cool because you can like put it next to walls and it does like rainbows all over the wall.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good emote.
And it's free for everyone.
It's free
Oh,
for everyone.
Grab
heck
the
yeah.
Free way to
Yeah, you can
piss
just put
off
rainbows
assholes.
everywhere.
All right.
Oh, I gotta get this. This is gonna be my emote from now on.
It's a really good emote.
It sure
Yeah.
is.
And then you also have the trans mat. So you can have the trans mat, you can wear the emblem, you can wear the emote. We just need to
Awesome.
ship this
I like the double
Oh.
entendre there.
That would be
Trans
great if it had like the pride rainbow coming out the back of the ship, like and you just like
I
draw
would
it
enjoy that.
all over the place.
Oh, that would be very
Come
cool.
on, Bungie, do
Yeah.
it, do it. This is gold. You can have this one for free, but you gotta give it away for free.
Yeah. Very awesome. Then
Yeah, what's next?
after that, they talk about sandbox questions.
They
And
do.
they hinted a lot of different stuff here. They go through abilities, weapons, and then they even touch on exotic armor and build crafting with some miscellaneous stuff like shaders at the end. But they're like they bring. So here's something that I really like that the Destiny 2 Teams account has been doing is in being all under this umbrella. Sometimes when you bring like the sandbox team in, they're like very narrow in what they can answer, but because it's like under the Destiny 2 Teams platform now, instead of just one person answering the question, they'll just be like, oh hey, we brought in this other team, we brought in the UI rewards team,
That's good.
to come in and answer this question about shaders. So that's really cool. I like seeing that kind of stuff. I know there's been some frustration of people feeling like they haven't been heard because they're not directly communicating with people, but this is so much safer for the devs. Even this past week, I saw people coming after a particular dev. I'm not going to bring up what exactly happened, but it was just terrible. Like, and so to have Destiny 2 teams as a thing, like, is overall just so much better for not having these witch hunts happen that are just like unbased in any reality. Like they just blow up for no reason. So yeah, this is, it's different, but there's some cool aspects of it that are starting to show. So yeah, abilities, weapons, and exotic armor. I don't know if we want to, I don't think we really want to read through like every single thing here because it's a whole lot. And I know we kind of want to focus on just keeping the show moving. So maybe I'll just pick like one thing out of each or summarize it. With ability stuff, the main thing that was asked is like, hey, we feel like abilities are really strong, high uptime. And they basically said like, hey, we're always evaluating and adjusting, and we're definitely looking at how all the exotics and all your fragments and stuff are combining together for these high uptimes, and they're adjusting it. And one of the specific things they talked about is Strand, and how they don't, like on the other end of that, like we can't get the tangles up that fast in PvE, and so they're reducing it from 15 seconds to 12 seconds in PvE, which is great.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then with Brood Reavers with Strand, kind of the same thing. They're upping and buffing the Wanderer next season as well.
I feel like when I do like super hard content like solo flawless and dungeons and that is really hard to get off solo subclasses because of just how strong they are. I mean, especially Titan. Like the Titan hammers are just, I mean, you just have a 100% ability uptime, and you get health, and you one-shot everything, and you can take it. I mean, it's literally like it's boss damage, it's ad clear, it's just like everything. And sometimes I feel like the enemy density is scaled to those couple of classes that are really powerful, and then if you go something else, you just feel like if you go Arc, you feel like you can't survive if you're doing solo flawless stuff, even though it's fine if you're in a group. It's and I kind of always want to get off Titan hammers because I get bored of just literally punching everything, but it's hard to deal with the ad density with something. What's that?
You call yourself a Titan.
Yeah, I'm
not bored with punching everything.
Yeah. Well, it just, I want to shoot my gun a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
That's why I like Strand so much. That's why I've always liked Strand, because I always felt like it had a good balance between ability, uptime, and weapon. But I think in the sandbox with the enemy density, like Strand's very functional and very controlling, but if you're doing like flawless content, it's hard to go past a hammer that literally gives you health back and wipes everything and controls ads and does boss damage.
That's interesting, because it makes me wonder if we're kind of going towards a reckoning kind of situation again, where they built that activity because we were so strong that they needed to have it be that way to give us any kind of challenge. And now it kind of feels like that maybe might be happening again, right? Where they're upping all the ad density, and it's only the kind of strongest and safest that can truly shine in that kind of content.
Well, it's okay if you're in a team, right? Everything still functions fine if you're in a team. And in fact, like Strand is a really good example, especially doing GMs, where it's like functionally in a team. It is so good for like dealing with champions and that. Like you want it part of your team composition. It's just when you start doing solo activities in dungeons and that only those really top ones come to the surface, mostly solo.
Would it feel better for you? I mean, I guess the question is, would we want as players all the abilities to have some sort of version where they could do solo stuff, or does it feel better to have specialized use cases for them? Like Solar is used more for solo stuff, but like for damage, Arc is really high up there, and some Void stuff for ad clear and things like that. So would we want them to create like an Arc and Strand ability to like refresh your health or do radiance and all that kind of stuff the same way, or do we like it being specialized? That's
I think it's the survivability of solo that makes it so strong, particularly with restoration or
Right.
cure. It's just that constant like health coming back makes you quite invulnerable to add density. Whereas other ones do have your health, like I can play Arc Titan and get health regeneration on a punch, but it's just not as strong as standing in a sunspot.
Yeah.
And making more sunspots every time you punch something.
Yeah, it could be what you're invested into too, because I used to be the same way. Like I just only played Hammer Titan and that was it for PvE. And slowly, as I've moved to my Hunter, I've started playing Invis more, which is very strong for survivability as well. It's just a different way of doing it. And same thing with Strand. I think there's a way to use Suspend, because they even say in that Strand section where they were talking about Tangles, I think it was here, maybe somewhere else, they were talking about how Strand Hunter with its Suspend is so strong right now, like, and Titan, their ability to suspend constantly and mitigate any danger versus healing in the midst of danger versus going invis and not being in danger. So there's like just all these different ways to play, and it just depends on which way you're invested. But no argument from me, like, solo warlocks in particular have kind of ruled the safety area for a long time, and I think hammers are right there alongside of it.
I think my issue is mainly with the subclasses that can do it all. So with the Solar Titan, I can do both like survivability, adequate, and boss DPS. Right. So it's like using the same button. Mm-hmm. And warlocks are kind of there too with their grenade spam and the sun braces and a well. And I feel like other subclasses will, like Arc, I could go Arc for DPS, and that's a really good option for Titan, but it's nowhere near as safe as Solo. And maybe they don't need to be balanced for doing solo content, but
yeah, Mylan, isn't the whole point of like having all these different like classes and subclasses to have like horses for courses, right? Yeah. So maybe the problem isn't that everybody else doesn't have enough survivability. Maybe the Sunbreaker Titan is just too fucking strong.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah,
I think so. I think the Sunbreaker Titan is still an outlier, and I get the general impression sometimes that endgame content is kind of skewed towards those really powerful subclasses, and it feels hard to take them off. I mean, like there's no way you're not taking in solo like a Titan for like day one raid.
Do you use that build in like PvP and raids and all that stuff? Do you use the same exact build, or do you use different stuff?
No, only PvE. I don't use it in PvP. Then again, Synthos is strong in PvP.
I mean, even in raids, do you do that same build?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Well, no, not actually. Maybe not necessarily, because those kind of builds. Yeah, low man. Those kind of builds, I mean, and this is maybe the twist on it, is that they actually lose a bit of their functionality in team compositions, because you sort of need to be surrounded. You sort of need to always hit your hammers, and usually what happens is someone goes and they shoot the enemy just as you throw your hammer, and then you run and pick it up, and you go bang, and you like, so like it's true, they don't function as well in a team. And maybe that's just like, maybe that's just need to accept that, like, okay, this is when I play solo content, this is
like
kind of my build.
Balance a little bit there,
yeah.
It is super strong solo, though. I agree, it's very, very strong. That's all. Like, I'm a warlock main, but I did a season of Titan, like, as an incentive, right? And what was the dungeon? The Keitel dungeon.
Yeah.
I didn't want to run it on anything else other than Bonkhammer. Like, I refuse.
That dungeon was.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah.
So it's so much nicer. So many ads all around the place. So yeah, I agree with you there for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
So I mean, so other ones are coming up now. Is this what the Twitter's saying?
I don't know.
Twiddle you, Mileage. Shut up.
The main thing that they said here is they just don't want that spike of like that high uptime to become the norm, and so that's what this whole section is kind of about, is adjusting those things, and they're like continuing to monitor. So we'll see what happens. The only other ability that they touched on there was grenades. That there's like a lot of them that aren't being seen as much as others, and they're trying to like buff and nerf to get grenades to a good spot there.
Okay.
So then after that, we got weapon stuff, starting out with a huge buff to hand cannons, like massive. So
This is
PvE damage, they
PvE, right? Yeah.
yeah, PvE they already got a buff, but they're getting another buff. Increased damage against miners by 20% and increased damage against majors by 75%.
What?
Which is massive. If you want
That's
to
a big buff.
yeah, and then on top of that, they're adding a new-ish weapon type, the heavy burst hand cannon, which is what Warden's Law was, the 2-burst, but they're making it its
Right.
own archetype, and, you know, we'll see more of it, basically.
That's exciting.
Cool.
Very cool, yeah. And if you want to see an example of this, I got to give a shout out to on Twitter, Mossy_Max. He does a lot of the Destiny science that you see go into like dim and all that stuff when you highlight over a perk and it tells you exactly what it does. He's usually one of the people researching it. He already has charts over how much damage hand cannons are going to do after this buff
Wow.
comes, and he's like saying they're going to be really spicy. So
Sweet.
that's really exciting.
Gets me excited
Do
to
you-
use Sunshot, right? Because
Oh,
Sunshot
yeah.
is like
Oh.
super fun in PvE. All
Yeah.
the
Sure is.
explosions.
Ooh. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Do you remember when like the Vogue Fatebringer was
Oh,
like
yeah.
the meta in PvE?
It was
that
by
was like,
far the best gun. By
Mhm.
far.
Yeah. and,
for a
you get your
long
headshot,
time.
Everything blows up. Quick
Yeah.
reload. Back into
Firefly
it, like,
was so good. Plus, it had
It was so good.
what was the quick reload perk on it?
Outlaw.
Outlaw.
Firefly
Outlaw,
explosive
yeah.
outlaw, yeah.
It was so damn good.
Well, then you had Leviathan, which had Outlaw Kill Clip hand cannon, and that was the meta for a long time. That one.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
And
tough to
It
I felt
was.
like back in those days, there wasn't a huge amount of like ad clear, so Firefly was just so strong on
Yeah, it was.
Sure.
a hand cannon. Like it was just a way to deal with ads.
If you went into what was that like the dark section of the Crota raid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you went in there and everybody had Fatebringers, you would just like take a casual stroll through that section of the raid. You remember that? It's
Yeah.
like
so satisfying. It was
everything
so
was
satisfying.
just
It was very
blowing up
satisfying.
before it got anywhere near you.
It was so satisfying hitting the headshots too. I still distinctly remember using Fatebringer and be like,
Yeah.
bing, bing, and when you get that Firefly, and you like do the quick reload, I was like, damn.
Yeah, it took
Yeah,
a
good.
long time
Yeah,
for
that
that
was
that
nice.
one to like kind of get one upped. I don't know if it really ever did. It was so strong.
Not in Destiny. I don't know. I can't remember.
Black Hammer got nerfed, but
I mean, it got toned down because it didn't get like brought forward, right? But then we
Yeah.
replaced it with the Imago Loop, which had the same perks on it, or it could
Forgot
have the
about all
same
that.
perks.
I mean, put it this way: when have you ever cared about Firefly in Destiny 2?
It's never
Like-
been as good as Destiny 1.
You don't need it for ad clear anymore. You've got so many ways to
You got a
blow
lot of
stuff up.
options.
It's sort
That's
of
true.
so.
my question there is, are we just, you know, in D1 a lot of those experiences were so new
Yeah.
that it was,
Yeah.
you know, not necessarily rose-colored glasses, but our perspective was so much more awe, and now we've experienced it for so long.
No, it was
Whenever we
awesome,
get-
man. It was a
No,
legendary
100%.
gun. It was a
100%.
legendary
I'm
gun.
not trying to take anything
That
away
was-
from
Dude, shut
Fatebringer.
your mouth, John. You
The
shut
best.
it right now.
I'm just saying, like, there's cool stuff in D2, but I feel like we're just like, yeah. it's
Don't
cool.
you hate on?
No, I'm saying
How dare you.
D2 stuff.
Nah, I see what you're saying. I feel like I am in that camp of I'm super excited about stuff currently, but I know it's easy to look back on Fatebringer, and it's a hand cannon, and we don't have too many hand cannons that are good in PvE right now, and there's something satisfying about, as we've all been talking about, using a hand cannon in
Yeah.
Destiny. It just has that Destiny feel to it. But like right now, we just got Tyranny of Heaven, the bow from Last Wish that has Dragonfly and Incandescent in different columns. So you can
Mhm.
like, everything
That
blows
does
up.
sound
So
fun.
there's
Spread, yeah.
really cool stuff right now, but it's hard to get back to that hand cannon blow up feel, you know?
Yeah.
Some
It
people
was-
feel good in
Look,
PvE too.
It was an outlier before they knew that, like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
we've got to do this for years and years. And we just made the
Right.
best primary weapon ever.
In the first grade, yeah.
Yeah.
Right out of the
Yeah.
gate.
True.
So,
Anyhow.
so Sunshot. What are going to be the Void? Is there Void and Arc hand cannons that we should look out for? Because I mean, Sunshot comes to mind.
Yeah.
Thorn comes to mind for
Malfeasance actually does
Malfeasance
like
comes to mind.
crazy damage and just got a catalyst. So
Yeah,
like
Isn't there a
that
rumor
could end
Thorn's
up
gonna get
being
one
real
too?
good.
that is the rumor. For
It's a
something that's said.
rumor, but I think I think it was Paul Tassi who tweeted out like Monte Carlo Stabby
Ooh,
Because-
yeah.
because they said this is like the most complex and like unique catalyst they've done, and it's
Okay.
one that people have wanted for a long time. So I was like, well, we've all wanted to stab people with Monte Carlo.
Yeah, that's
We've all
true.
wanted. That would
Monte
be
Carlo
really
Glaive
fun.
Exotic. Come
Monte
on.
Carlo or Thorn? People like Thorn a lot.
I would like to impale people with my gunfire.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would too.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if there's like unique animation.
Yes. Rip their head off. Go to M.
Would
I'm
it go
fully
into
convinced
third person
that
for that,
being would
or
be
would
good.
it stay in first person?
We'll probably have to be
Like, would
first
you go into like a?
Like,
First.
Yeah, it'd be
yeah,
like Glaive.
Glaives are first.
Big Glaive.
Yeah,
like a
it'd be like
finisher
Glaive.
almost.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool,
If you
Hank-
Yeah,
look-
what
Hand
are the
cannons, I'm
hand
excited.
cannons? Hand
Yeah,
cannons?
hand
Yeah,
cannons,
like people
cool
said
stuff.
palindrome for void, but what I was more thinking is obviously like Sunshot synergizes with your solar subclasses. Is it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it has
Yeah.
solar
Yeah, it's got
solar verbs on it?
Yeah.
Right. Like, do we have void verbs on hand cannons that we use in PvE?
Exalted Truth has some stuff like repulsor race, but I don't think it has
Yeah, I don't think
destabilizing
so.
rounds. Let me
Yeah.
look. But I know that the Last Wish raid did just come out with the hand cannon from there, and it has Volt Shot on the hand cannon, so you got that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
That could be fun. Or you could even like you could use AS Luna, and that has like
Ooh.
some stasis stuff like Headstone.
Targeted Redaction has destabilizing rounds. I did not know that.
Oh.
That's the Taken hand cannon from this season.
Oh.
Wow, that's the only hand cannon
Oh.
that has it.
Interesting.
Man.
Very
Get him
cool.
now.
Pick that
Get him
up.
now. Pick it up.
I'll think about it. I'll go fishing. Wait, no, I can't get it from fishing. It's a taken one, right?
Oh, they're
I will
saying
focus
that
it.
Deepstone Crypt hand cannon has Volt Shot too. That's cool. I didn't realize that.
Okay.
Posterity, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, well, hand cannons looking awesome. They also mentioned kinetic. This is the part that I was like, okay, spinfoil hat time. They mentioned kinetic weapons falling behind, builds getting intricate, and they, right now kinetic weapons do more damage to unshielded enemies. They added kinetic trimmers, so they kind of talk about the different stuff they've done, but they're still looking to do more, and they're saying they have something planned for the year of the final shape timeline that may make them look a little more unique, but maybe it's time for that kinetic subclass. Probably not. Which
Why
Why would
even
you say that?
Right?
why would you say that?
Why would you say that? Why would you say that if you didn't mean it? Because people are gonna latch onto that and go, "Oh, kinetic subclass," and like,
Mhm.
we got kinetic tremors recently as a perk, and that is a really fun and strong perk. And if we're looking post final shape, this being the end of the Light and Dark saga, having a kinetic subclass, I think would make sense
Which
depending
would
on what they're
necessarily
doing.
be tied to the Traveler or the.
Yeah, it's not tied to either.
Yeah.
Where does
Yeah.
it come from then?
I don't know, Mr. Loreman.
Physics. It's
You tell us.
Yeah,
Kinetic.
physics. What you pick up a rock? Like, activate melee. Okay.
From my 10
Wait.
years of learning to be a strong guardian, by
Yeah.
it, okay? I figured it out.
from training and focus.
It would
Rock
be
attack.
but
Isn't Sloane's mechanical suit? Didn't you say that it inhibited her light, but it's like a kinetic
Yeah,
suit,
like-
right? Like,
yeah,
what
I
if-
guess so,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm.
DNA splicing. But
Yeah.
what would it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would it look like?
White. Like kinetic. White.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Well,
Like shockwaves.
That's like that's kinetic tremors. So you got one.
Yeah,
and
what
what
does
do
that
your
look
other
like?
effects look like?
the whole class is tremor based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It
are
could be-
ground-based.
It could be all about moving fast and like hitting with like maximum impact.
Hey, I got bad news for you. You've already got a kinetic subclass. It's called using your primary. Okay, it's already there. called
That's
shooting your
not an
gun.
ability, Mylan.
Why are you the ruiner of dreams?
Well, to go down that real quick, ruiner of dreams. A lot of people are saying this is a joke, like clearly, and
Sure.
I don't know why would you. But I'm with Watts. Like, why would you put it here? Like, it's
Leave
just that thing get our hopes
Irresponsible,
up.
Bungie.
Distraction.
I tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Bungie's sitting in the corner and everyone's playing Diablo 4, and they're like, okay, you know what? Fuck it, spice it up. Drop in a subclass in a TWID, okay? That will get their attention. And everyone's like, huh?
Yeah, it didn't get anyone's attention apparently, because everyone thought it was a joke. So
I know. Yeah.
I do have a question for y'all though. What are the chances of them bringing back elementary, like kinetic weapons? Now we have Strand, and they talked about in the TWAB or the TWID that they brought that specifically to work with the subclasses. So why is Strand the only one that gets kinetic weapons with the ability stuff? Why can't they bring back Void, Solar, Arc?
I don't see why
I'm
they can't.
confused.
I
Yeah.
don't
You
know
lost
why
me.
they wouldn't.
I'm a little lost too.
Strand Stasis is primary. Void, Solar,
yeah.
Arc is energy. Why can't they
Strand
have
and
Void?
Stasis, yeah.
Yeah.
So
why
now
can't
they have
Void?
Strand and Stasis
I get
kinetic
you.
or primary weapons, right? In the kinetic
Yeah.
slot, primary slot, whatever the hell's called. And they used to have the elemental primaries, right? Like back in D1
Yeah.
before they took it out. Like you used to
Yep.
be able to get it on
Right.
everything until they took it out.
Yeah.
But these are synergizing with subclasses so well now, and they covered that in the TWAB. They said specifically, like, we put those there to work with your subclasses. Why can't we get, Solar, Void, and Arc kinetic weapons back? Primary weapons.
I mean, they
get what you're
could,
saying.
but it's
They could.
also like nice to have it split, like between like, okay,
Yeah.
these weapons they belong in this slot, and it like gives you a reason.
Right,
like
but they
for
broke
example,
that already. They broke that already, is my point.
I mean, no. I know with primary weapons, but I'm talking about like solar is only found in the energy slot, and it's interesting because, like right now I'm chasing. There's 2 energy primary weapons that are the only energy primary weapons that have Cascade Point, and so I'm like chasing them because that's the only thing that will fit in that slot, and it makes the grind interesting. Whereas if you just let everything go everywhere, then there's less of a grind, and I'm sure Destiny doesn't want that.
I hear you.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think my brain would break if I saw Void stuff in the kinetic slot. I'd be like, huh?
Just opens up your build variety, right?
Yeah.
Build crafting, like you're not kind of limited to stuff. You can have a Void Primer, and then you can use your favorite like energy weapon.
Ooh, it would break damage stacking too, because right now you can stack all surge mods, like say you go all arc. If you could get arc in every column, you would just be so strong all the time with a minimal investment.
Well, they
so
could just cap it, right?
they could, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess conditioned finality does what Jay's saying. It's got
true.
It's got solar and stasis is normally there, but it's got solar.
That is true.
True. Jay's onto something.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so after kinetic stuff, we got glaive stuff, which nobody's gonna care about this but me.
Shut your mouth! I love glaives. What we got
That's
going
right,
on?
In
Tell
the midst
me.
of some glaive lovers here.
I'm
I'm just
glaive
upset
gang.
because I put out a glaive video this week and everybody's hating on it because Astacross said it was trash, and then I said it was great, and now we're going back and forth.
Stick to the lore, Aztec
But no.
Cross.
We're having a good time with it.
Perfect. Good engagement, right? Probably got more
No,
comments
it's
than
been
normal.
great. It's been fun. But no, for real, the glaive, they are making a pass at them, but specifically for PvP, they said, which is, I'm a little afraid because glaives are like right on that line. You push them a little too far, and they're just like so frustrating to play against. So I'm curious what they have planned for that. But I do agree that right now it is a bit of a throw if you put a glaive on. It's like you can
Yeah.
make it work, but you have to be your skill ceiling has to be so high to make it work. So it's a little difficult to use right now. And then they're also adjusting the class specific exotic glaives, and they specifically mentioned a thing that I have talked about forever, which is likely adjusting in the form of players activating the exotic perk in a different way, which right now to activate it, you take away your shield energy to use the bubble glaive or the arc shockwave glaive. And so the shield is the best part of a glaive, and you're giving it away to do some other function. So I'm really glad that they're adjusting that.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. I worked so hard to get that arc glaive when they were doing the arc subclass change, because I was like, this might be really good. And then I took it in PvP, and it's like, well, you got to do this, this, and this to activate it. You got to use the shield. It's a lot to use it.
Have you used it this season at all?
I have not. No.
Ooh, it's so much fun right now, and I've been using it in PvE probably more. But all the arc stuff that we talked about, like you can stack the explosion from the artifact mod, explosion from your fragment. And then you got explosions with the new Hunter exotic gloves, which are the Lost Sector today, and I'm going to be doing that after the podcast.
Oh,
and then you've got Volt Shot on the new Trials glaive. And so I'm trying to stack like all 4 explosions at the same time. So we'll see. Mylan, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, what glaive did you review and disagree? Was it the Trials glaive that you looked at?
Yeah, it was the Trials glaive, yeah.
And you reckon it's good?
It's very good. It's I'm not even saying like my experience with it, like on paper, it is the best adaptive glaive. It's better than every other adaptive in every single stat. It's better than everything else. And it has Volt Shot, and it has Surrounded, like all the banger stuff with Impulse Amplifier in the 3rd column, which is like the must-have for glaive. So it's very good.
Why does Aztec Ross not like it?
I think he doesn't like.
I'm gonna text him right now and find out why you're wrong.
I went back and forth with his team this week. We were just poking fun at each other, but I think it's because he likes the melee part of it for one, which you can't like. This isn't a melee. It's not a melee one. It came from Trials, which PvP you don't melee with the glaive like that will get you killed.
Yeah.
And then secondly, there's a lot of interesting archetypes right now, which is what disappointed me too at first. Rapid fire glaives are really good in the Crucible because they fire so fast, and then you got Judgment of Kel'Grath that's so good as an aggressive hard-hitting glaive, whereas this one's just an adaptive like the original Void one we got with Witch Queen, which in that sense it's like boring, but it's like the best version of boring you can get, so that's why it's so good, plus Volt Shot.
What do you think they mean when they say they're aiming to make them more satisfying to use?
I would think that has to do with hit detection, maybe like cone size on the projectile, because that is when I got people commenting that the glaive was bad and kind of jumping on that train. A lot of it has to do with it being hard to hit your shots. You really gotta relearn how to play Destiny with a glaive if you're gonna use it at the like 15-20 meter mark.
I mean, it's got travel time with it basically, right? So it's not like you can just have your cursor right over them.
Yeah, which heads up, if you are playing that way, stack all into range, because range on glaives determines your projectile velocity. So that's the thing with this Trials glaive, is it can get 100 range pretty easily, and then on top of that has Impulse Amplifier, which gives you 35% faster projectile velocity. So
then it goes quick. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, glaives, I'm excited that they're looking into it. I'm scared, but I'm excited. Okay, next, they talk about how do they, I feel like I should read this. If I'm going to read
You might have to just read this one, because this is, this is like, they're looking into how do you determine what gets nerfed and what gets buffed. So that's like, you can't kind of break that down into shorter words. Yeah.
Okay, so the question was, how do you determine what gets nerfed and what gets buffed? Do those parameters change season over season? Just to comment on the persistent Bungie balances based on usage narrative, this is not the case. See below, which we'll get to in a second. But note that if something is widely overused, in many cases that's because it's both strong and easy to use. Players typically won't flock to a specific weapon in droves if it's perfectly balanced. When we're deciding what to do for a balance pass, we look at 5 main sources of information to identify what we ought to look at. So here are the 5 things. Number 1, internal feedback from playtesting. Designers have about 10 plus hours of playtests a week. Our own experiences playing the live game. Designers typically play the game heavily, and we carve out a little time each week to fire team up for raids and trials. So that's the first way. Second way. Yeah,
Designers,
designers.
not QA.
Yeah, these are that's
Exactly.
very important to kind
True.
of point out that this is specifically designers. They're the ones that are crafting the experiences and changing the sandbox and the weapons. These aren't like people just testing things. It's people who are
Exactly.
making all the decisions.
Can you imagine like going into your team meeting and being like, okay, like looking at your personal goals, Matt, I've seen you've only played 5 hours of Destiny this week.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to bump
Also,
those
you
hours
wiped our
up."
raid team on Friday. Everybody had to stay late. Nice job.
Why do you? Didn't you see Lemonarch? I need to see some changes in Lemonarch this week. Come on now.
Well, they also had on Friday they have like a period of time where you play Destiny. Like that's time
That's
during
cool.
your work week where you play Destiny, and you can obviously it's a good time to join up with other designers because that's everyone's doing it at the same time. So, yeah, they really do make sure that people are playing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And on top of that, they're also developing from the feedback of the testing team. So it's like their own skills plus all the feedback from there. Plus, you got community managers giving feedback too. There's so many sources of information. So that's the next one. Second, live feedback source from players, weapon usage. Typically, we look at usage by owners so as to not miss what's going on with low ownership weapons. Third, weapon effectiveness, so kills per time equipped, win rate with that weapon equipped, and so forth, which that one's pretty big because a lot of people are like, just because this is popular doesn't mean you should be nerfing it, but they look at weapon effectiveness as well.
For sure, yeah.
Then fourth, design analysis of the implementation of a weapon, looking through weapon perks and other data to see if something is obviously wrong, as was the case with, what was the SMG, Aquilos SMG that had no recoil?
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Yeah, no recoil. Probably not good.
Yeah. So there's that. Having pulled together a list of weapons, we'll go through them and identify what's contributing to the issues. In some cases, it's innate to the weapon itself and will adjust, but in other cases, it's a specific perk combo. The overall weapon type rather than a single weapon or lack of competition, and we can address the issue without touching the weapon in question. Which, that's cool. And then, yes, some of the logic for which weapons get attention changes depending on the focus of the season. If we have a high representation of a weapon type in the seasonal artifact, we're shipping several newer replies weapons of a specific type. Or encounters that play well with a specific weapon type, we'll dig into the matching weapons to make sure they perform well with the seasonal focus from other teams. For example, in the past, we've had seasons that revolve around high-density, close-range encounters with matching artifact unlocks and revisiting the tuning of submachine guns and grenade launchers.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and that all makes sense, like, given like the way some. I think like the main thing that they want to convey through all this is changing the narrative Bungie balances based on usage. Like that is the primary thing from here. And so they go through and say all this to show like, hey, these are all the different things we're looking at.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like
That's
hearing
good.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they still mention that weapon usage is one of the things, like live feedback source from player weapon usage, because it is important in Destiny to have that variety. Like for instance, if there's a super hot weapon, which right now Graviton Lance is kind of goated, so that's
It
a
is
different
a
story.
little hot. Yeah.
But if there was something at the top that wasn't goated, but like a ton of people are using it, and my example of this, which not a lot of people agree in, but is Jotun, like that is used a ton, but to me is very counterable. So it's like, it's people love using it. A lot of people use it. There's a lot of kills with it, but there's like counters to it. You can move, you can run high mobility, that kind of stuff. So,
Quick sidetrack on the topic of Jotun. I was playing Trials. I faced a definite cheater because they literally were flying through the air like this. They weren't taking damage, and they were shooting through walls with Jotun.
Like through the wall? Like it came through the wall?
Yes, through the wall. So like I was behind a pillar, and then on the other side of the map, flying around, and you just died to the Jotun explosion.
Man, that sounds
Literally
hella
just
fun. I gotta start cheating.
That's crazy.
Today, I got confirmation they got banned. I got the message.
Ah, nice.
I reported
Very
them.
nice.
I reported them in game, and then Dato was like, "This is so obvious. You should use the online form." I went to the online form, submitted the online form for the cheaters, and put the clip of the dude literally on the other side of the map.
Man, that's some real
shooting me
narc
with-
energy, Mylan.
I was undercover cop. Undercover cop Marlon was there, and yeah, like and that was it like less than a week. So I don't know. I think the advice is if you really have, I'm not talking about someone just always hitting their shots. Like I'm talking about
Yeah.
dude,
like hard
dude,
shooting.
a person firing unlimited heavy ammo from round one, you know, invincibility, shooting through walls. Like, if you have something like that, it seems like the online form is probably the way to go.
Cool to
Get
hear
a
that
clip.
that worked
Issue,
so
Mylan.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a
Very
week.
much so.
It was like in a week. Yeah. Last
That's
weekend.
awesome.
That's good to hear.
Okay. So, also, I just accidentally clicked the wrong button. Also, after we got all this information about how they nerf and buff stuff, then they talk about any other exotic tuning plan for what's coming, and this is where they mention, you know, next up they're doing the long-awaited PvP nerf Monarch, buff to Touch of Malice, minor changes to some other exotics, and some legendary perks, which these ones I'm excited about. Bipod, Shoot to Loot, and Under Overall getting adjusted, which is
Oh,
very
yeah.
exciting because they're all. I mean, Shoot to Loot. A lot
Already
of people
got
do
adjusted.
like that one.
They already did.
Shoot to
that,
Loot.
I'm guessing buff.
Yeah, but it already got changed, so it's got to change it again,
They
right?
did.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Mm,
so
I mean,
yeah.
I
Shoot to
I
Loot
haven't-
looking spicy, maybe.
Here's the thing. The reason why no one's using shoot to loot is because they've already deleted all their shoot to loots, and like, you know, that's what the usage rate is low, and they haven't bothered to refund them. Okay, it's like
Apparently, it doesn't pick up orbs yet.
I thought it was meant to.
I thought that's what it was supposed to do already.
That's what it was meant to do.
Like what the
Interesting.
change was.
Well, I hope that Under Over just decimates Titan barricades. That's what I would love to see.
Yes, you shoot it once
See
and it
what
goes,
happens.
it blows up, maybe does some damage to them, the people behind it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Something.
like Firefly for shooting Titan walls.
I think it should kill them and then report them for cheating.
Oh,
shoot.
apparently it does pick up orbs. Okay.
Okay,
It does pick
okay.
up orbs. That because
I
that was
didn't
the change that they were doing to it. So I don't know what the buff will be, but
Yeah. Also, I did not realize this next part. The zoom to damage fall off normalization and sword guard rework are coming to season 22, which that zoom change is going to be massive. It's going to change the way rangefinder works. It's going to change every single fusion rifle in the game. The way that like people go for high zoom stuff versus low zoom stuff is unreal. So to have that normalized, there's no telling what it's gonna play like.
What is
we
this
won't
change
know
doing?
until we get it.
It's taking your zoom factor and your range and like decoupling them. Is that what it's doing?
Kinda. Right now, zoom increase. No, it's not. So right now, zoom does like 4 different things. It pushes out your damage fall off distance. It pushes out your aim assist fall off distance. It gives you better recoil control and a narrower accuracy. I believe that's the last. Yeah. And narrow accuracy cone. And so those are the 4 things it does. And the only thing that they're changing out of those are the damage fall off distance. So you'll still have further aim assist, you still have all the other stuff. It's just the damage fall off. And so, because right now everybody just wants further zoom so that their hand cannons do full damage against the auto rifle they're fighting, the pulse rifle. And so it's gonna change the thing. Like people might sacrifice zoom to have better other stats now.
Okay.
that would be nice because just looking for one stat is never super fun, right? Just like when we were all just looking for kill clip, like kill clip rampage, it is not super exciting.
Yeah, agreed. And then there's also the change that we kind of hinted at where they mention, as usual, we're making an exotic catalyst for an older exotic weapon in season 22. And it's one that's been heavily requested and likely the most complex catalyst we've ever made.
That's what makes so Thorn is definitely one that people have wanted for a long time, right? That's something that people have talked about for a long time. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what could you do with a Thorn catalyst that makes it the most complex
I
catalyst
know.
they've ever made? And that makes me go towards Monte Carlo because that's the thing that we all kind of said in D1, right? Where it's like, it's got this
Right.
pokey thing on it. Let me stab people with it. It
Mm.
would be amazing if they could make something that unique for a catalyst. I'll hope. So that'd be very cool.
You've convinced me. It's Monte Carlo.
Yeah, where did this come from? This stabby. Was this a Paul Tassi?
Well, it's I saw
Brainchild?
Paul talking about it, but yeah, it's Monte Carlo literally has a stabber on the end of it. So I think we've all been like, man, I remember being on the podcast in D1, be like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could stab people with Monte Carlo?
Everyone's saying Monte Carlo. Don't you remember Red Death? Come on now.
Red Death also
Red
had
Death.
a
That
stabby,
would be cool.
Yeah.
but
Maybe
Monte
this
Carlo
is a
had
new
it
world
first.
of stabby guns.
Wait, actually, Red Death and Monte Carlo both were D1. Like
Red Death was great until it got nerfed too.
Red
Yeah,
Death
it
was
was.
Red Death like
so
OG.
good.
Like was it launch Destiny 1? It was, right?
Feel like
Oh,
it was.
I
Yeah,
think
it was.
so.
This is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get Monte Carlo. When you do the stabby stab, it's gonna like get blood stains on it.
Mm.
And that's gonna
Yeah.
make it like Red Death.
Oh,
Once
it
you get a
turns it
stab-
into Red Death.
Oh,
It turns it into a pulse rifle.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's pretty complex.
That is pretty
That's
complex.
What about the hand cannon that's like Red Death? What's it called? Crimson.
Crimson,
Would,
Crimson,
would that
yeah.
get
Yeah.
us?
Crimson does
that
have
gets-
a poker. It does. It's got a little
Wait, what?
poker on the end there.
Oh, I thought you said it. I thought you were saying it has the poke animation. I'm like, huh? No,
It's
okay.
got the poker.
Yeah.
Now we're just gonna look at every gun. Okay, which gun's
Yeah.
got the poker? Who's coming to get the poke animation?
Mm-hmm.
I really hope you're
I
right.
mean, does Halo have the pistol whip as its melee, or is it a punch? I can't remember now.
I think it's a
I think it's
pistol
pistol
whip.
whip.
Is it a
Because
pistol
the
whip?
BR is
Yeah.
the up melee where you hit him with the bottom
Yeah,
of the
it
rifle.
is. Yeah,
so,
yeah. Yeah.
It's in Bungie's DNA. I'm surprised we haven't got it already. It's definitely coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have it.
Unique melee animations based on the gun you're using.
And we've
I
got
think
it
that was
built
easier to
in
do with
Blade,
8 guns
so.
and harder to do with 200.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You think they only have 200 guns?
No, they did it like Destiny 1 launched at probably around
Yeah.
200, right?
God, how many
The
do they
D2
have now?
launch. They did.
Does anybody know how many guns that we have at this point? It's got to be like
Oh man.
north of 500.
Well,
we have
gotta be a
so
lot.
much stuff.
More than
Maybe
my
not
vault can hold.
counting sunsetting stuff, but
a lot.
All right. Let's finish it up. There's there's basically one last section. It's just the exotic armor and build crafting. They mention a lot of people ask, hey, my favorite exotic armor could use a buff, and they're like, hey, we're working on it. They actually, the cool thing about this is they have a list. I don't think they actually mention it here. They mentioned it somewhere, but basically like they have a list of 5 exotics that are the lowest used ones every season, and they look at like those exotics and like what could we do to these exotics. I can't remember where it was in here, but here it is. Honestly, just looking at the 20 least used exotics, we poke at that list every season. So they have a list of the 20 least used, and they kind of look around and see what they can change on it. So that's cool to see.
Oh, that is good.
So
Yeah.
if you got one that you love but it ain't great, maybe they'll check it out. And then they talk about stompies for a bit here. I feel like we've beat this to death. I feel like Firing Range is going to talk about it a bunch. I don't really know.
Yeah,
And
it's
Watts,
this,
if you have anything to say.
it's just, they say that it provides great neutral game and you get the jump and that's oppressive because of the nature of the hunter jump. And I gotta say, after playing that game with multiple flying warlocks, I'm not following the logic here very hard. I understand what they're saying in that, like, hunters can jump in combat, right, and be above you and maneuver in the air, and the warlock flying isn't that. But yeah, I still think that for stompies, what would be a good middle ground if you do want to stick with this is while the dodge is on cooldown, you don't give the jumping benefits, but you still have the slide benefits and those kind of things. So you're kind of just hitting the thing that seems to be problematic about stompies with the cooldown. But yeah, it
Hmm.
just making it feel super inconsistent across the board. I just don't really agree with that change. I don't think inconsistency is good, right? Sometimes it's gonna feel great, and
Right.
then your dodge comes back, and you're like, oh well, yeah. I don't think inconsistency is
If
Curious
they
what the
changed
use.
the in-air part, wouldn't PvE suffer a lot from that though? Like hunters who use it just to do raid jumping puzzles and stuff.
Well, it would basically be the same as it is now with the change.
Mm.
It would be the same, just instead of having ever no benefits at all when you don't have your dodge, you'd just be losing the jumping one when you don't have it.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I really like that change actually.
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
let's face it. If you're on an Hunter, you need help with the jumping puzzles. You need to just put grapple on. You got 2 grapples, and then if you're
That's
still
true.
struggling, like you.
I didn't pay for Lightfall, Mylan. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, true.
Mm,
Put your stompies on then, I
true.
guess.
I'm curious what the use rate of Stompies at this point is after the nerf too.
It's really high actually. If you look at, because I looked that up after I saw that, I was having a
Oh, you're curious as
conversation
well.
with some other Crucible players on Destiny Trials Report. It was the number 2 exotic, 20% of hunters running Stompies. It was 7.5% overall usage, right next to Dune Marchers, just below Ophidian Aspects.
What was it before the nerf though?
I'm pretty sure it was the top. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure. Well, not before the AE nerf, it was at the top. I don't know about the stage going through all this airborne effectiveness
First
stuff.
nerf, and yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. What do you do if you want to jump in there and shoot as a hunter? Do you just have to have a random perk on that increases your aerial effectiveness?
3 things.
Or-
Either you use, there is a helmet, the one that gives you a
Strand
like a
one.
target. No. Well, that one. But you
Foe
don't even
Tracer?
need Foe Tracer. Plus,
Tracer.
yes, you could actually run Foe Tracer on Strand, so that gives you 20 airborne effectiveness. And when you grapple with Threat of Ascent, the fragment, that gives you plus 30 airborne effectiveness. So that's 50 airborne effectiveness right there before you even get into Icarus Grip is plus 15. And then perks
Seal
like
Ahamkara Grass is plus 50.
yeah,
What?
but it's
Oh, but you have
You
to
gotta
hit.
do
You have
something.
to hit the melee. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what is 50 without doing anything? Though you have to use a sidearm. Is Mechanized Trick Sleeves. That's just like a
Ooh,
base
yeah.
50 AE to all sidearms if you're using it.
Bows have a really good option too with theirs. It gives a ton of airborne effectiveness. I think it's like 30 as well. But actually, I think the best way if you're really wanting to do airborne stuff is to get a weapon
Hey,
with
Warlock.
elemental capacitor. Well, get a weapon with elemental capacitor because that's
Yeah.
like plus 20, plus 25 airborne effectiveness just at default running Strand. So then plus Threat of Ascent, that's 30. You're like already at 50 and you don't even have an exotic on or anything. So you can really go to town with a weapon with
And you can get speed loader slacks as well. Like that's an option. You do have
Mm.
to dodge and like get kills to keep it up, but that is an aerial effectiveness option.
yeah.
It's just not as fun as Stompies, honestly. Like that's why people
Yeah.
use Stompies. I genuinely think, of course, it's effective, but it makes the movement of Hunter more fun than it already is. So I think that's why people are using it, just like we did
mean-
with the boots in D1. It makes
Right.
it fun.
Any like neutral game movement exotic is always going to be powerful in PvP, like because other exotics are always toned down because you don't want to be able to do one punch and like wipe a whole team basically, unless you've done some things to set that up. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a touchy subject for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, last few things. Are there any more plans for armor interactions with exotic weapons like Necrotic Grip? And they say yes. They're wanting to add more of them, especially for hunters and titans. So that's exciting. But
that is exciting.
Oh, that's nice.
also,
very
what's interesting is they say we feel these special connections between exotics are best when they are rare and a little bit hidden. It's like, is there something we have now that interacts that we don't know about? Like, I don't know. But yeah. adding
I
the
think
hunters
I think the hidden part is probably just like the dot damage of Thorn,
right.
combos with necrotic grips. I guess that's a little bit hidden.
Yeah, makes sense.
It would be nice to have more, because yeah, it is exciting having your gun synergize with the subclass you're using and the exotic you're using. The more synergies, the better for me. So I hope they bring some cool ones to the other classes.
Absolutely. Will we ever see any of the pre-Lightfall armor mods come back? This one's exciting to me, and they're saying they're like analyzing it, but their goal, it's their goal that the base armor mods are straightforward and approachable. They should be the behind-the-scenes foundation of your build, not the star elements. We do want to experiment with fun and novel ways to interact with Orbs of Power, Armor Change, and other armor mod systems, and plan to do so via the seasonal artifact. I do miss things like surprise attack for the sidearm. Like it was like a 35% buff, something crazy.
Ugh,
So
I miss powerful friends, all
Yeah.
that stuff that made
Yeah.
build crafting a lot more fun on Hunter, because you don't have to put all of your just base stats into every stat ever. You had a little bit of help there getting to your 100 mobility and recovery and resilience or whatever you needed. So I do miss that.
I do understand the like reason for sticking with the seasonal artifact, because like this season our Arc and Void stuff so jacked, and if they want to make it strong for a season, it's cool for them to do that. If they want to give some perk that gives you like a 40% buff for doing this specific thing, they can do that and not have it break everything in the future. So I get it, but it would be cool to have something you could rely on and build into for the future.
Definitely. And I miss last season's artifacts for tangles and stuff. Because now when I make a tangle, I'm like, meh. Whereas before I was like, oh my god, I want to use a strand weapon and I want to be shooting that tangle right away. And that made tangles I felt like they were in a good spot. I don't feel like they were too strong, and now they feel a little underwhelming. So I hope that they could bring something in the terms of like fragments that can do something similar. Because then I'm choosing it over other things. They do. Yeah, their aspect, they can throw the tangle, and I know there's a delay, right? When you throw it, there's a delay to where it actually like lifts them up.
Probably, yeah, as a balance thing.
And that's one of the things they want to buff, so that'll be good. And then they put some miscellaneous questions here. They mention, can we favorite shaders soon? And they say, we're hesitant to talk too much about, this is the one where they pulled another team in, so we're hesitant to talk too much about the complex features that aren't far enough along to attach to a specific release, but we're going to be sharing info on some new features in this vein real soon. So that is very exciting. Shader stuff, always exciting.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good.
Because you still have those shaders that get lost at the end of
your sometimes the new
why are they going
seasonal
back there?
stuff is at the front, sometimes it's at the back. Like they get placed randomly. And then there was that other shader that Ada brought that she just never sold from way back in the day. Like you just couldn't get that shader before. That's like somewhere in the middle, because it's in the area of where it was supposed to come out in Destiny's lifespan.
Yeah. And then they have HUD and UI changes that are just coming closer to final shape. They don't really have any dates for anything yet, and that's it.
Nice. You know what I do want to bring up real quick? Supremacy. So Supremacy is actually pretty fun. Like last week when I played Clash, not nearly as fun. But I'm wondering if people played Supremacy and they actually really liked it in Guardian games, so they see that Supremacy's here and they want to jump in. But they did say that they were making some changes to Supremacy. Those changes were adding a mercy rule and not getting super energy on picking up the tags on the floor. Those are not in. They're not in Supremacy. They're not in Supremacy. We were looking at the scoreboard like, shouldn't this be a mercy? No mercy. And then I saw someone getting their super like constantly, and I'm like, yep, it's exactly the same Supremacy as before. None of the changes are actually.
That's a bummer.
Like, when did you play Supremacy? Is it back out again?
Yeah, it's in the Relentless rotator.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta go.
It's actually been good. So that playlist is connection-based matchmaking, but what always can make it feel good or bad is population. And when I've played that playlist before, it's not felt any difference, because I'm sure it was just not that populated. But this time around, it feels like there's a good population in there, and you're getting a good mix of players.
Agreed. I played it a bit as well, and it felt good. I was bouncing back and forth between that and Rumble to try out stuff,
Yeah.
and I was like, Supremacy feels really good. It's just kind of like
Does.
random. Some games I get stomped by some people, and some games, it's really even. Some games I'm winning like crazy, and
Okay.
so
Same.
it just
Yeah.
depends. It's just random connection based.
Yep.
Can I get your guys' perspective on something? I have like a
No.
thing. Lego and I, we were talking
Yeah.
about this before.
Interesting, yeah.
Before the podcast started. First, I have a question for y'all. Do you like and also chase like the new exotics specifically that are in the Lost Sectors?
Yeah.
And if you do you enjoy that?
No.
For me, if it's something like Speed Lotus Slacks, right? That I was like,
Mhm.
I want to get those because that actually sounds like a thing that I would use. So
Mhm.
I would go and do the Lost Sector for that. Do I enjoy doing it? No.
Mm.
This season, I know Lego, I'm sorry, I'm not crazy about glaives. So the arms,
Hey,
I'm like,
understandable.
I could probably leave those. So yeah, I don't interact with it for exotics that I know I'm not gonna run very often. But
Mhm.
I definitely would like to have them at least the option of dropping randomly,
Sure.
or
exactly.
or
exactly.
getting the engram and like turning it in and it randomly happening, even if it's a lower chance. Like have a way for me
Yeah.
to go and do Lost Sectors to get it and target it if I want.
Hear me out.
But-
Hear me out.
No, let me get it randomly.
What if after an activity they popped up a screen and people could get rewards at that screen? And like every once in a while, you might get an exotic even though you're like last on the leaderboard in a PvP match. I know. It's a crazy theory.
I missed that a lot.
Yeah, that's
But
the
what if-
theory.
What if
So-
I performed really well and I got on a 20 streak
Mhm.
and the guy in last place gets the exotic, Briar?
Then he gets to laugh and you get to cry. It's his revenge for getting shit
about,
on for 10 minutes in the PvP match.
There you go.
What about the rest of you? Your thoughts about
Yeah,
the exotics?
I'll throw mine
go on.
real quick. I actually do. I feel like I'm in the minority. I feel like Watts' view on it is the popular one that I see, and I feel like I do enjoy that PvE grind of it. There's just something about like perfecting that, because I don't do a lot. I should preface it by saying I don't do a lot of like solo dungeon flawless. Like I did it like one time and I'm like, that was fun, and I like doing solo dungeon blind, like that's fun too, but I don't do a whole lot of grandmasters. So this is like grandmaster light to me. I mean, I know it's not on that level to anybody out there, but just having some activity that you can figure out how to speed run and get the placement of like where the champions come and all that stuff. I like that little flow for just like a day that I'm going after that exotic. It's kind of fun. And that's what I was doing earlier today before I got on the podcast. So I enjoy it, but I also agree with Watts' suggestion that like, what if it could drop from anywhere randomly and then I could target farm it? I'd be totally cool with that too, because then if I want something right away, I'm like, oh, I gotta go do the Lost Sector. It's kind of exciting. I can go in there and learn that one, get it down, and get the runs down as fast as I can. So I see both sides of it, but I actually do enjoy it.
I used to really like it. I think, oh god, Bungie's killed my throat. You're not allowed to say that.
Uh-oh, Milo's been censored. Milo's been silenced by big corporate Bungie. Big
Big
pharma.
indie dev. I think the how difficult it is and the drop rate is not in the right spot. And I think when you're encouraging people to speed run, like I would prefer it be a bit easier. And then when you've got all your gear and you've like got everything set up and you understand everything, then you're doing it in like 2-3 minutes, and then that would probably be right for the current drop rate. But with the current drop rate, it feels like it's hard and it's a low current drop rate, so it doesn't feel like it's worth your time to do it. And I think in general, I'm not really a collector anymore, where there used to be a time where I used to like have to get all the exotics, and I don't know if that's just like a sandbox thing. And I'm like, well, am I going to take Synthos off? Nah.
Did
Am I
it
going to
happen
use
about the same time that like maybe the season after they introduced the Lost Sector thing? Because I'm in the exact same boat where I don't have all the exotics.
Yeah.
Because of that specifically.
I basically go and do the Lost Sector when some crazy broken build comes out and everyone goes, oh my god, this is a new DPS meta or the new PvP meta, like open collections, and everyone goes, lol, how do you not have the exotic from 2 seasons ago? Can't believe you don't have it yet. And I'm like, okay, off we go. La 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 la. And I go off to Lost Sector and go get it.
So I do like Watts' suggestion that it should be in the RNG pool at some point. Maybe, you know, the new stuff is just for Lost Sectors or some activity. I want to talk about more of that just in a second. But like the fact that every new exotic going back how long is only accessible in a Lost Sector. Like they created this as a solution to a problem where people were like, hey, we want activity specific loot, right? And they're like, okay, we're gonna make exotics specific to Lost Sectors. But then they're just adding more to that Lost Sector pool, and it's getting so overrun to the point where I probably don't have 8 to 10 exotics now because of it. So I was thinking maybe, to Watt's point, they put it in the world pool at some point, you know, eventually. Or Lego and I were talking about, what if they actually made, similar to D1, certain strike bosses or GM bosses, you know, the kind of how they do GMs, where specific loot drops are happening once a week or whatever, and everybody wants to go after it for that week. But there's no real activities other than GMs and raids and trial weapons. But those things that pop up, like new exotics or those sunset weapons they're bringing back and stuff like that, like why don't they sprinkle those as specific drops to, you know, different specific activities or Lost Sectors or whatever. And then kind of on top of that, I wanted to talk about boosted weekends or boosted days where you have a 3 times chance or 10 times chance to get this exotic in this activity, or you can get, you know, Briar's like double XP or what. Like they don't have that stuff in this game like at all anymore. It's weird.
And they used to.
Yeah, double XP for sure.
Yeah. Double, what was that?
Yeah, vendor rep boosts.
Yeah, you got that. That's the one thing you have. I do want to just real quick, I'll just say what I said pre-show, and that is that I would love to see the weapons dropping Lost Sector, because we have a lot of legendary weapons that are unobtainable even from Xur. Like
do the quest or whatever.
Like Cartesian Coordinate is one of the best fusion rifles in the game. That's the one I use to go like solo the Rumble playlist to the top, but you can't get it anymore unless Xur just happens to sell it. Like that's the only way you can get. You can't play dares for it. It just doesn't exist in the game. And there's a lot of other weapons like that, and you could just throw those in Lost Sectors. Like, hey, there's this rare thing. If you want to go get it, here's this thing. So just wanted to say that real quick outside of the XP stuff. But I think that would be really cool to have, or the world drop stuff right now, right? Cool Guy was talking about on Twitter today and has been talking about on Twitter last season and this season. World drop weapons are so rare, and the only way you can get it is if Gunsmith just happens to sell it, or just randomly it shows up from a deep dive or some random activity, and it's so rare the chance that it even drops, and they're weighted lower, and so there's no, like, the chance of you getting, if there's a perk combo you want from one of those, is not like, it's slim to nothing, you know, to get a perk drop on those world drops.
There's so many weapons in the weapon pool now, especially everything is diluted. So like, what if they created, you know, this weekend we're doing a 10 times chance to get this weapon that's ridiculously hard to get. You can grind for it. Like, how much would people be grinding for it? They do it with grandmasters already, right? Like, think about Hothead and, you know, whatever
double
other
drop
weapons.
Weekends.
Like people
that's
go
true.
crazy for it. Like, why don't they do that with more things and more weapons, more active? I don't know. It's just weird to me.
I'd like to see it.
So yeah, that was my point, I guess.
Got him.
Nice.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, the rest of the TWAB was just a bunch of people who won the competitions for both the PlayStation. It's a bunch of artists for the PlayStation Sony collab with Destiny was one of the things, and all the artists just banger jobs. It looks so good. And then also the community contest on fashion, which there's some cool stuff. Some people Photoshop their Guardian like several times together in one picture. So pretty cool stuff if you want to go check that out.
That is cool stuff.
There was some good fashion in there.
There is some good fashion in there.
There was good fashion. And good art.
The artists, the Destiny artists continue every single week to impress me to no end. They're so good.
Yeah, we have like, I guess because the Destiny's world is so beautiful and mysterious, and it appeals to so many people that, yeah, there really is some of the best artists I've seen in any community is in Destiny. It's crazy.
For a long time, too.
Yeah, super talented.
All right. Let's start with the Mohican 9. He says, has Destiny gone from embracing fun, Prometheus Lens and Trials, to trying to stomp it out as fast as possible?
I would say
There's a fine line between fun and preserving players' experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And they've kind of been doing this, like, forever. Like, there's always been, like, kind of glitches that have been fun that we've had for a short time. And they've acknowledged them sometimes. Like, what was that Infinite Nova Bomb glitch?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun if you were doing it, but it's not fun for anybody around you, right? So they have to kind of get rid of that kind of stuff.
I do not envy the developers trying to make those decisions. Like, do we let them have it for a couple of days, or do we, look in the statistics, be like, yeah, we got a steep drop off of player base because of what's happening in Trials right now. We got to get this in gear.
Yeah.
I thought Prometheus Lens Trials was fun, though. I'll be honest. I only played like one round, though, or like not one round, but like one ticket.
It really is a fine line when you look at the event, like the Telesto event, like, because that was really fun to me. I was like, oh, this thing's broken. Everybody's using Telesto all of a sudden. It's hilarious. And then you got the other half of the community that's like, I hate this gun so much. Get it out. It's ruining my Trials experience. It's ruining my Crucible experience. I don't even want to play Destiny this week. So there's that fine line of like, you do want to do something fun, and then you got people who they care about a certain kind of experience. So it's tough.
Yeah, very, very tough.
ProTag says, as a listener from the yonder year of 2016, I've loved listening to the podcast for years. What famous fast food knockoff chain would each of your Guardians frequent? What would the staple food there be called? Thank you for the kind words. And, of course, the answer has got to be Taco Bell.
Oh, Briar, this
Got
reminds me.
brown pants?
Did you see the Taco Bell Crocs?
What?
Yeah. Crocs tweeted out Taco Bell Crocs.
Okay, I am Googling this right now.
I saw Sonic Crocs, too, and thought of Briar. Sonic the Hedgehog Crocs.
We really need to get you this sponsorship. I'll put it in chat.
Oh my God, they're beautiful.
Dang it! Now I gotta go look.
I put them in chat.
They're more like a slide than a Croc, but I mean they are Crocs,
They're
and they are
showered.
purple.
They're for when you have to shower off after going to the bathroom after you have.
They're coming out 6/28, so get your
Are they like
fingers
special
ready.
edition?
They're not Crocs. They're
Listen.
not Crocs.
What do you mean they're not Crocs? It says
that are
Croc.
Crocs.
It says Croc right on it.
Croc is just
Yeah,
a
but
brand
you're
at this
right.
point,
They're
right?
slides.
But they're purple and they're beautiful, and they got the Taco Bell logo right on it.
They do actually look solid, like the purple
Yeah.
and black.
They
Right?
do, yeah.
Yeah.
I would've
We
expected-
have these are Briar's worlds colliding right in front of us.
It is
I would've
time for a new
expected them
pair.
to
Look at
go.
these. These ones are flat.
well worn.
Yeah.
Is that your inside pair, Briar?
That are my kind of like my slippers. Yeah, my inside Crocs.
Sport mode.
You gotta be careful with flat bottom Crocs though. They get slippery when wet. You're sliding
Wear
around
'em
on
in
these
the
things.
shower too.
No.
He wears them everywhere. Everywhere. He's got
Never
a Croc
take 'em
in every
off.
room.
Just one.
Yeah. Grey Ghost 13 says, this is just my own take on the current formula of the podcast. I'm not reading this, Grey Ghost. That's not necessary. Joe Coran says, thoughts on Season of the Deep as a whole? Story events, missions, guns, armor, maybe a lack of new exotics. Thanks, guys. Love the pod.
I don't know. I've been feeling the same way about this season, and I can't pinpoint why I'm
Oh, yeah,
not
right.
not there. And it's like I actually think the storyline is good. I'm interested. I don't know where my motivation has gone. I'm the dungeon was great, but as soon as I've done that
Dungeon
a
was
couple of
great.
times, but it's also a season, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I've actually heard this from a lot of people and a lot of people that enjoy Destiny, right? And they're very much so like, listen, I think Destiny's a great game. I love this game, but I'm just not it feels like there's a overarching thing of we're just not in the mood for like more. I think it's more of the same, because it doesn't help that you also have all these new games that are coming out that they don't even have to be significantly better than Destiny. They're just giving you new, fresh,
Yeah.
exciting experiences. And
Mm.
we've been playing this game for so long, and the formula has been the same for a while that we're not really surprised by anything anymore. It's like, oh, okay, there's a thing. This season's a little bit different because Deep Dive is a little bit different to what we normally get, and we don't have to unlock the things in the vendor. We get it through challenges, but it is kind of more of the same. So I think unless you're like super into the story and you're like really chasing guns that season,
Yeah.
that you're just gonna feel a little like, I'm just, I'll jump in and then I'll hop out, just not really feeling it.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is Lightfall. Even though I didn't like the campaign experience, I played a lot just because of Strand. Strand just really
Mm.
kept me engaged because I wanted to use a new subclass, and I just used Strand every day, and that was fun. And then obviously the shininess of Strand is starting to wear off, and the season is a season, and it's predictable, and I don't know. There's nothing technically wrong with it. It's just
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
There's
I think
nothing wrong with it. Nothing
for
wrong.
me, I've only done like one deep dive. Like I haven't interacted with the season that much. The part that I'm in is what Watts was saying. It's like the weapon chase. But I think the disconnect there is there's a lot of people that aren't, and that's because the seasonal weapons to me aren't super interesting. The interesting stuff is like
Yeah.
the events. You got Iron Banner came with a really cool new fusion rifle. You have
Yeah.
the Last
Mhm.
Wish weapons. All of them are just so good. But unless you're doing that specific thing, you're not really chasing it and experimenting with it in the
That's true.
Crucible and Vanguard stuff. So, and I think the playlist weapons are great too. Randy's in Crucible, Positive Outlook has a bunch of cool perks in the Vanguard stuff. So like I'm interested in that stuff. They came out with like my favorite perk I've ever seen, Discord, and so I'm really into that nerdy side of Destiny right now, but I'm not engaged with the seasonal stuff as much as I
Yeah.
feel like I usually am. Usually I'm like really into like, oh, I want that seasonal weapon and this thing, but I'm more so just enjoying the new artifact mods and the weapons outside the season. So it does feel funny. I agree.
It does, right? It feels like it's like maybe week 7 instead of week. We're not that far into the season, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are usually checking in every week for the story at least. But I have seen it echoed from people that normally I don't see it from, where they're like, just not really in the mood to go do the story this time around.
Yeah.
I mean, what can Bungie do at this point to mix things up? I feel like they're trying a lot of things, but really, as much as I would probably hate it, like I do feel like they need to make some kind of major change. Not to like, bringing in new stuff. I'm saying like to our like process, how we play the game,
Like the
what the
core
loop is. Like
gameplay
the
loop.
core
Yeah.
gameplay needs some kind of dynamic shift to get us to be excited to actually log in and play, because there's so many cool weapons, there's so much cool activities to play, but like it's this analysis paralysis thing, and we're just glossing over everything because it's just presented in front of us. We're like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't feel driven to play any specific thing. Like nothing is giving me joy. I'm just giving perspectives, right? Like
Yeah.
so, as much as probably there'd be a lot of pushback from the community, at least initially, they would, I think, have to make some kind of radical shift in the actual gameplay. And I don't know if they would do it even after final shape. So,
I feel like
Well,
this
I mean-
topic comes up every summer too. Just
true.
summertime, this topic
Right.
just kind of comes up. People are feeling the draw of going outside. You know, there's just more stuff happening. It's a little harder, maybe not Watts, but
I don't go outside that much either. So
but like there's just more stuff happening in the summertime. We're also this year we're just like there's a barrage of huge game releases. Like just gigantic. Like a new Zelda, a new Diablo, a new Final Fantasy all within the span of less than a month is insane. So it's just like you know, like also the story of Destiny, I find it to be interesting this season, but it's not really like the story we're looking for right now, if that makes sense.
True.
It's not the
Yeah.
like, hey, we're
true.
at the end here. We are like approaching the final fight. We're rallying the fucking troops. Let's go fuck off and play with the sea monster. You know, like it really seems like a little bit of a side story when you really like as a player, I really like so focused on, and that was my problem with Lightfall a little bit too. It's like not Lightfall. I'm sorry. What was the big one that was this February?
Life.
Yeah, it was love.
Oh, it was
Lightfall,
Lightfall.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like it just seemed like, you know, like even the trailers are like we're in their spaceships, we're flying toward the Witness. Here we go. Now we're going to Neomuna like for no apparent reason, and like what the fuck is the veil? You know, like
Yeah.
it's just like, God, we're so close to like getting all these answers, and every time they hold that back, it can be discouraging to me.
I think that's actually a really good point that a lot of us expected for answers to start coming with Lightfall, and we didn't get that. And we know we're heading towards the end, and we're like right there, and we still have all these unanswered questions that are not, that they're just not happening.
Honestly, I was talking to someone about this, and I was like, they're not playing Destiny. I was trying to explain why I think there's been a lack of motivation, and I do think we're close to the end, and we just got given a lot of McGoverns to you know a veiled thing, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter then. Like, there's no point tuning in for the next. I might as well just take a break and come back for Final Shape, see the conclusion, because
Right.
we have all this story that has been there for 8 years, and it literally didn't matter. It didn't matter if you're like a story vet or a new player, and obviously that was intentional. Like, you could jump in at Livefall, and it didn't matter that the previous universe existed. It was like, this new thing's called the Veil. No one knows it. Here's what all you need to know. Witness has gone through. Something bad's going to happen. There you go. So it's like, that kind of sucked, I think, a lot of the intrigue and around the story. And it was like, well, we're just going to be slowly drip fed this content for the next year until Final Shape. And then Final Shape will give us a conclusion. So
I wonder if there's also some people questioning, like
Yeah.
sort of what Briar's going to say, if we are going to get the
Are we gonna-
conclusion we're looking for in Final
Right.
Shape, right? Or will it be the seasons after Final Shape that
Right.
start concluding stuff?
Or do they ever give it to us at all? You know, like, you know, maybe we kill the Witness, but like those answers that we've been looking for years just kind of just never getting answered. You know, those questions never getting
Yeah.
answered. Could be.
And they kind of keep you on edge the whole time too right now because you have someone like Amanda Holiday like blowing up randomly and you're like, what, you know, what's going on here? So it's just every episode, every year, it's like an episode of a TV show. You're like waiting for the next thing. And when you hear about it, you're like, oh, I should log in and complete the story stuff now, I guess. So yeah, I feel that.
I guess
and also, I think in these slumps, this is when PvP should be shining. This is when PvP should be motivating people to play the game. When you've gone through, you're getting the story once a week, and you've already done the dungeon, and maybe you've got some red borders. Like, this is the time that PvP should have maps, modes, and things that are
Yes.
motivating you to play. And it's like, I think the state of PvP is probably making a lot of people feel a bit meh.
Yeah.
Agree.
Fazimoto says, Datto mentioned in a video today that legendary weapons are lot feeling too great these days. I think it means not feeling too great these days. So I'm wondering, is it time for a new loot tier? Maybe call it Ascendant and add another perk slot.
What?
So it would just be so Ascendant would be legendary, but with just an extra perk slot.
I would have to see what Dado said about legendaries not feeling well. I mean, special legendaries feel fine, maybe.
I don't know if an extra perk would really change our experience with the guns. Like they're super unique, but it doesn't change our gameplay very much. Like you're like, oh, these are void shields. All right, get the void thing out. Okay, this is a boss. Get my boss damage stuff out. I feel like it would have to be kind of going back to what I was saying before. It would have to be some kind of shift in how we play game to really make them feel fresh again.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest
disappointments. To run 2 or 3 exotics at the same time and they interact with each other. I don't know, something weird.
That was one of my biggest disappointments of Destiny 2. Really, was that it so closely resembled the weapons so closely resembled the weapons in Destiny 1, where I thought that was a real opportunity. Like, let's really change things up. And I hope that that's still someday planned. Is like, yeah, we've had these these weapons now for 10 years. Some of them for less than that, but a lot of them for a very long time. And hand cannons feel great, but they felt the same essentially for 10 years. So it's like the joy that of using that weapon does subside over time. And I wonder if that's part of that.
Yeah, and I think they're experimenting with doing a lot more interesting weapon stuff with what we have now with legendary weapons, like how we got these perks that go into the verbs of the subclasses, like Voltshot, Incandescent, and all that stuff is making weapons really interesting, especially when it starts stacking on like Dragonfly Incandescent, like I talked about earlier. And so I think they're slowly working their way towards making these weapons more and more interesting, but I get how it can feel like a drip feed and how you feel like maybe you want something more drastic. And a new weapon type might do that for you.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think the most interesting weapons are the ones that use the subclass verbs and you get that synergy. And I also think that the perks have been quite nuanced and less obvious on how strong they are, but are fun to play with, like Discord and is it Envious Assassin and they're actually really interesting perks. And I just think OG Destiny perks have just been so strong and so sort of basic, straight to the point, that it's easy to gloss over these new perks, which take a little bit more work to put into your builds.
Tiago says, question for the Lore Master, who or what is Anathema? Anathema? Anathema.
Oh, it's an IVE thing. I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's an item in League of Legends.
Oh, that clears it up.
I can't remember. It was mentioned in I think Asa mentioned it in one of the lore entries. I want to say like a poem or something, but I'm not sure.
A possum.
How do you spell it again? How do you spell it? I'll research it right now.
Anathema. The Bohemian 9 says, would you rather have $1 million or $2 million Amazon gift card?
I can get anything on Amazon.
But you can't invest it.
Yeah, you can't.
I get literally everything.
You can't invest it.
I can get groceries forever.
You've just got
free groceries
free stuff for a long time from Amazon, and it wouldn't be for life. Come on.
Just buy $2 million worth of gift cards, sell those, and then you have. That's what you do every Christmas anyway. You just get all this Amazon money, you sell it.
You get 1.5. Yeah.
I am taking that $1 million and I'm running. I don't use Amazon that much anyway. I swore it off during the pandemic, and I have gone back to it a little bit, but I try not to use it as much as I can. I try and go directly to a vendor who makes the thing, or buy locally if I can.
I hate to use it, but it's so damn convenient.
It is convenient, but
it's when you open the cover and you're like, crap, I don't have any cat food.
Yeah, it's the ADHD savior. I can have it here tomorrow.
Kane Shin Phoenix says, if there was a band made from the Destiny 2 characters, vendors, villains included, what type of music would they play? And in your opinion, and what instrument would they play? They would play jizz, like in Star Wars. There'd be a jizz band. All right, and right, and who would be in it?
Keitel,
Saladin plays. He definitely plays the saxophone. Keitel sings, lead singer.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like not the original version Star Wars, but like the George Lucas CGI inputted with the big lips coming out. That's Keitel.
Zavala just plays the tambourine, and just dances.
Sensually.
Kind
That was pretty sensual, Briar.
of,
That was some sensual dancing.
right.
Right
A lot of hips. A lot of hips.
I was thinking more metal because I was
Okay.
thinking like, you've got like the Drifter and Eris. You put Oryx in there. Put Zivu Wrath as
Yup.
lead singer.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
The
Call it
drummer.
the Deep, and that's the
The
name.
Deep.
Oh, the deep.
That's good. Remember
Ooh.
that trailer that had the Led Zeppelin song for Destiny 1? Damn, that
Mhm.
was a good
Yes,
trailer.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Didn't Log do a cover of that?
Yeah?
Oh yeah, I think
Oh
so.
yeah, I did. Yeah.
I was thinking Shax should be in there too. Maybe the drummer. He's got so much energy.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
definitely has
good. I
drummer
like
energy.
that.
You're right.
Drummers usually aren't that animated though. I
And
don't know.
they give him a
Oh.
microphone, but it's not connected, so he sings into it.
Yeah. Mhm.
But he can't hear him.
I like that.
Drifter definitely gives big bass player vibes.
Ooh,
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
He
the
does?
shady,
definitely.
Like, oh yeah.
Just keeps his head down the whole time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Way
Oh,
too cool
Crow?
to talk to anybody. Yeah.
Crow?
Doesn't help tear down the gear. Just shows up with his bass.
Crow is the
Yes.
most annoying fan. He's like the one that
Always like
nobody
Brother
wants to
Vance.
see. Like, fuck. Crow's here.
Amanda Holliday's the technician or the keyboard player. You know, the effects coordinator.
No, she's dead.
Mhm. It's not wrong.
Too soon, Briar. Too soon. Crota on drums. His friend. Got four
Swords
arms,
for
right?
sticks.
Like that.
That would be cool. Glowing swords. Charles B. Davis says, what style of mobile game would a Destiny spin-off game be for you to play it?
Nikke, Goddess of Victory, big booty bouncing, but Destiny character.
Yeah, give me Oryx with a big booty, please. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay,
Wow.
you're selling me on this pretty hard.
You're like, oh, okay, Oryx. All right. Well,
Riven.
Oryx, I could
Oh,
bounce a
Revan.
quarter off of Oryx's booty. That'd be pretty good. It'd be like playing quarters, but with Oryx's booty as a table.
yeah, I want a Nikke Destiny crossover. I'm waiting for the day. Doesn't make any goddamn sense, but it'd be really funny.
I want like the turn-based RPG, like old school style.
Ooh,
Oh,
that
yeah.
could
Like
work
take
well.
your time with it and all the elements. You know,
Yeah,
like
that would be
Pokemon,
cool.
Like do something with each other. Yeah.
I'd play that.
I want a gotcha game with all the Destiny characters as like characters you can get of different ranks and rarities and build them up and all that stuff.
How about a tower
Rich Battle
defense game? Tower defense where you just got to set up all your defenses and like they run through
That'd be
your.
cool.
You're in the tower. It's your.
You are the traveler. You
Oh.
gotta protect the traveler.
Oh, it's like a magic 8-ball
You're the
with the traveler
traveler.
instead of the. Grim Invictus says this question is mainly for Mylan, but can you confirm that Guardian weapons do more damage because of the light? There are people out here that think beings like Oryx are being hurt by regular guns, and it's bothering me.
Okay, so firstly, the other question, I can't find the answer. I'm very sure it's in the books or somewhere, and it's like Ayats, and there's a word, but I don't think they've spelt it right because I can't find it in Ishtar Collective. Guardians
Doesn't feel
empower their light. Yeah, I mean, Guardians do put their light into weapons like the golden gun. Sometimes they're fabricated from the light. Sometimes they empower it with the light. I don't think though there's any specific reference to like your kinetic weapons being empowered by the light, but I could be wrong there. I guess Radiant. Oh yeah, okay. Excuse me. Why don't you go back with Lord Channel Warlock? Yeah, Radiant I guess does that. Radiant empowers your weapons with the light to do extra damage. And you know what? Yeah, maybe because every single Guardian does DPS in a Warlock role. There you go. There's your answer.
Majestic Mofo says, "Love you guys. My question is, why can't I stop playing Diablo 4? Because you just started a game with a big empty vault, and now you get to fill it."
It's
New
true.
experience. You're looking for a new
It's
experience.
fresh, exciting for you. New builds to make, new
Yeah.
things to get, new
Places
content
to explore, new story, New builds,
All
all
new.
sorts of good stuff. I haven't dug into that game yet. I'm probably gonna do it somewhat. Oh, Final Fantasy 16 is like right around the corner.
And next Thursday, 1 week.
Not enough time. Not enough time.
There's a lot.
Just play video games for a living, Briar. How hard can it be?
Pretty easy.
Slothy says, if you could eat any Pokemon, which would you eat? Personally, I think Squirtle soup would be delicious. It does. If you bite into a Squirtle, does it like burst in your mouth like one of those like
Turtle haters.
juicer? You know, like those. What are those juicers called? They're like a gummy on the outside and they got the juice on the inside. Is that what a Squirtle's like when you bite into it? Like pops in your mouth?
Yeah.
Gusher.
Like a gusher.
Y'all
Yeah.
need help.
That's
Y'all
right.
need help.
Mm.
I mean,
Wait.
surely Snorlax is like one of those cows with the marbled fat, you know? Like he's like that's
I bet
good
you're
meat.
right.
That's like marbled fat.
Yeah. It's like Wagyu beef.
Yeah, Wagyu
Yeah.
beef, marbled.
There's literally Pokemon that look like food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. There's only one answer to this, and it's the one that looks like ice cream. What is
Yeah,
it, like
oh.
Frosty or something?
Okay.
They've gone the gamut of
Twist,
there's a
that
trash-
one tastes
there's a
like
trash
chicken.
My answer would be Ditto because it can be everything.
Mm.
Oh.
That's-
Yeah, but do you
That's
think
about as-
Ditto's gonna make something tasty if you're taking
They're
a
like,
chunk
hey,
out of it?
Ditto, could you come real tasty real quick? No, for no reason.
Yeah.
And
3D
take a-
printer of
Why?
food.
What do you mean why?
For
I
fun,
imagine-
it's fun, you know. Training. We're training.
I imagine Ditto tastes exactly like the slop from Matrix. You remember that?
Oh.
They were in the ship and they were eating that goop.
It's like
That's what
oatmeal.
Ditto tastes
Yeah.
like.
Cobalt says, "Hey DCP, do any of you have a favorite font?"
I know what Briar's answer is.
You do?
I mean, the font I've been using for 8 years in all my thumbnails, yeah.
Impact.
I do like Impact. It's fun.
Impact's pretty good.
I like Myriad Pro.
That's a good one.
I don't remember
I-
names
I
of
think-
fonts, so I guess the answer is no.
I
Papyrus.
can't remember the one that Ash did for some of my art, but that is my favorite. It's
Ash
so
does really good fonts. Like she always
She
nails
does.
it.
Comic Sans.
I think I use lemon milk or something like that. Is the name of it?
That sounds delicious. That's my new
Lemon
favorite
milk
font, too.
bold.
Lilk. Yeah.
Milk.
Doesn't sound as good when you say it like that.
good.
It made it like 50% less delicious.
Made by Nestwick. Yeah.
The thing is, this like font is also used by like one of the like TV stations, like on all their. I'm like, oh, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, Ash lemon milk, Ash lemon milk. Like, every time I see it, like it's always the promoting some reality TV show or whatever. It's like the same font.
Relate to that. I was a logo designer for about 10 years or so
Really?
and did a few thousand different logos. And it was like, I know that font. I know that.
Yeah.
Ever do any lemon milks?
Yeah.
No.
No?
That must
No.
be like one of those like custom ones that came
Yeah.
in the last few years.
Yeah, no, I had to
Hey, if you put
install it.
lemon in milk, wouldn't it just curdle and like?
Now I gotta look it up.
Now lemon
So-
cheese.
My favorite one is the one, whatever one Ascendant Nomad uses for all his YouTube thumbnails. It's always just one word, like dumb or amazing or whatever, and but it stands out so much. Somebody tell me what it is. I don't know, but it's great. That font.
Yanova says, tinfoil hat time. Do you reckon Bungie is testing their matchmaking params for Marathon on Us Guardians? I mean,
No.
they definitely have the knowledge of like all these like years of working on this stuff is definitely like intrinsic knowledge that they have in the company now. But this is a completely different type of matchmaking because it's going to be
Yeah.
how many people are going to be like match made into this server, not peer to peer. So it's like it's a completely different kind of game altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that logic, you could be like, Halo was a testing ground for Marathon too. You know, like they've taken all like you said, all the years of experience from all the games culminated into something better, and better. But they're completely different games. It's not like they're going to copy and paste literally any of it, or that even some of the same concepts will apply.
Yeah, I mean, look at ranked in Destiny and look at ranked in Halo.
Yep.
You're right. Some
You know,
things didn't
had
get
to-
better.
I'm curious if they'll bring any of the logic back from the original games.
Let's
Those
hope there's
games are
grenade
pretty
jumping.
old.
Games. Yeah, right.
Grenade jumping in Marathon.
I used to do that in Quake.
Why does tractor cannon not shoot you up when you shoot at the floor? Shouldn't
It should.
Good question.
True.
One for the
True.
ages,
That's
Lego.
a good question.
Pancake.
Mm.
Trans Right says 2 questions. Who would be your go-to game character drinking buddy, not Destiny exclusive? And who do you think would win, the Warhammer Space Marines or the enemies we face in Destiny? Oh, those Warhammer Space Marines are pretty badass.
Space Marines are always gonna win.
Yeah,
That's
they're pretty
easy.
badass. And we have beat pretty much single-handedly every character we've faced in Destiny. So,
Most of them soloable too.
well,
Yeah.
they're not
With
looking
a,
that
and most
tough.
with a single hammer.
Go-to drinking buddy would be Nathan. What was the guy
Drake?
from Uncharted?
Oh,
Drake.
Nathan Drake.
Drake.
Nathan Drake. Yeah, thank you. I like that guy. He'd be fun.
Probably someone from Mortal Kombat, just so you can go to the pub and like no one would
Dangerous,
say
dangerous.
shit to you.
That guy gets pissed off. He rips your arms off and then kicks you so hard
Yeah.
in the nuts that your
Goro.
body splits apart.
Goro.
Yeah,
He's got 4
Goro.
arms. He's or 6 arms. How
Yeah.
many arms does he have?
I think it's 4.
4.
It's 4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah.
Man,
Now
I
you got
don't
me
know.
questioning. He's gonna be in
I mean,
the
the
new Mortal
Drifter-
Kombat.
The Drifter would definitely be a good drinking buddy in the Destiny universe.
I bet he's always
He would-
motherfucking you though. You know, like he's always with the backhanded compliments, and it's like you walk out of the bar feeling worse than when you walked in when you go in with the Drifter.
No, he would just have these crazy stories. You wouldn't know if they're true or not, but it wouldn't matter because it'd be a good story.
You're a drunk. Act like one.
Juice says, "What are your favorite seasonal weapons this season? Love what y'all do. Thank you, Juice.
Seasonal
Favorite
weapon?
seasonal weapons?
From this season?
Yeah.
From this season?
Hmm?
Oh,
I mean,
the
look-
Iron Banner Fusion, obviously. Yes, clearly. I would grind it. I have turned in so many engrams for that thing. I've
No good
focused
yet?
a billion. I've reset my Iron Banner rank 3 times.
Ooh, that's a lot.
All of those engrams have been going towards the
Wow.
fusion.
Yeah, and I think I have like 20 fusion rifles too, and every time I miss a shot with it, I'm like, damn you, Lego, you told me I would be a goddamn god if I use this roll, and then, I'm like,
Are you using the Discord rangefinder roll?
no.
I'm
yeah,
using a Discord high impact reserve one
That's
at
still
the
really
moment.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a rangefinder. Really, I've seen it twice, I think.
I've gone on some. I've been running double fusion in the
Wow.
Crucible with a Tachyon Force, which is probably my favorite one. This one with rangefinder, so I get a shot with that, and then I swap to the Discord Iron
Oh,
Banner
man.
fusion and just unlimited ammo for 7 seconds, and it like just crazy range on it. It's very.
Do you just have your
disgusting, I'm
messages
sorry.
turned off?
No, because it's fun to see if anybody thinks I'm cheating. They're like, "How are you?" Because I was doing it in trials. I was running double in trials just to
Oh,
see if
wow.
anybody would be like, "That's impossible. Like, how did you have ammo? Like, that doesn't make any sense." But I haven't got any hate mail yet for that specific thing. You know, there's others, but
I haven't been super interested in this season's weapons, and I feel like I'm in a habit now where I just get the red border once a week, and then I'll be like, I'll craft, like when it becomes popular, I'll just craft whatever I need. So I don't really pay attention to the seasonal weapon. Whereas with the Iron Banner fusion rifle, heard it was spicy, heard it was good, played a lot of Iron Banner, rolled a lot of them to try get one. So yeah, the seasonal stuff sort of falls off the radar for me just because it's craftable, and I know I'm gonna chip away at it. I'm just gonna buy a crafting pattern once a week and then move on with my life.
yeah. Hey, shout out to Age Old Bond from Last Wish with destabilizing rounds. Is pretty cool. Or Golden Tricorn, either of those. Like that auto rifle just feels really good for some reason. I don't know what it is about it, but it feels great.
Gareth Evans says, would you rather eat 15 pounds of crawfish with Patrick or win a bet against Pope Bear where he has to do a forfeit of your choice? I might be too old for this. What's a forfeit mean in this context? A forfeit of your choice. What's that mean?
I don't know.
Like a challenge?
Well, okay.
You
So I can just make him do something? Anything I want?
pretty much.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
choosing that.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Pope
I
Bear.
was gonna ask
Paint my
Patrick
house.
from SpongeBob or a different.
No,
Patrick?
Patrick.
Holtzman.
Holtzman.
Oh, sorry. Before my time.
Yeah. I mean, making Pope do something would be pretty funny, but I don't know what I'd make him do.
I mean, I
Pour
assume that I
water
get
all
some
over his
tough
face. Like he did
some
that
time
one
to think about it.
charity.
or glue Fallout's
A beard
facial
on
hair
his
to him.
face.
Honestly, I might go with 15 pounds of crawfish with Patrick because what am I going to tell Pope to do that he hasn't already done? Omega
Eat
Star
15 pounds of crawdad. Patrick.
You just
What you
get to
tell
watch.
him to do?
Omega Star Dragon says if Bungie put in a Crucible mode that had no abilities, no supers, grenades, charged melees, or class specific jumping, it just came down to how good you were with a gun and how bad your lag is. Would you play it, and do you think other people would play it?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
You're taking away too much of like
Yeah.
what Destiny is.
Yeah.
At that
Be-
point, and I understand you like the shooting, but like removing that much of it is really kind of destroying what Destiny
Yeah,
is.
I'd check it out for sure, but I don't see myself putting a bunch of time into it.
Yeah.
It'd be like D1 or year 1 D2 when like everybody was using primaries the whole time. Double primary.
Mm-hmm.
We did like SWAT or like whatever the momentum control game type was for a hot minute before they tuned it, right? And that was
It's
kinda
still
like
good.
SWAT.
Momentum
Yeah.
control.
I mean, that's basically
very
weapons
good.
only. Like you're not using abilities there much.
Yeah, but there's also I think what I like about it is the half damage. Like everything is amplified in terms of your weapons. So you can like
Right.
one tap with a
Right.
sniper rifle all the time, that kind of stuff. I think that's a fun thing. But yeah, you're right. Ability, you have to like get kills to get it going. That is a really fun game mode. I do love it.
I do like it too. I only realized that only after 8 years. Or whatever. It's like I should stop clicking on control and play some of those other game modes.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Esty says, are any of you dipping your toes into Final Fantasy 16 next week? And are you evicted for the upcoming Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth? I'm gonna go with excited. Are you excited for the upcoming Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth?
You're gonna play
Oh,
too much.
dude, I'm not just dipping my toes into I will not be touching Destiny unless there's like an exotic mission when Final Fantasy 16 is here.
Yeah, this game looks
Not a
super
chance.
super good. Watts, have you
So-
played the
It's
demo?
Yeah, it's incredible.
All
This
right.
is like I knew Final Fantasy 16 was gonna be good. Like it's the first mainline M-rated Final Fantasy, so they have a bit more.
So there's more
leeway
fucking in
with
it,
stuff.
right?
Yeah,
There's a lot.
they made a lot of the main designers on this Final Fantasy watch the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, so that's
Oh,
a
shit.
vibe that they're going for. It's the Final Fantasy where it was written in Japanese, but then it was written completely fresh in English
Okay.
for a Western audience to be more authentic and feel like a more genuine experience for a Western audience. All of the voice acting, the English came first, and the way they're doing the voice acting is if someone's in the North in Final Fantasy 16, they have a Northern English accent. They want it to feel like a Game of Thrones kind of world.
Hell yeah.
But playing this demo, this could be a system selling game.
Yeah, because it's a PlayStation 5 only, right?
Yeah. It's it's crazy. I've seen so many people be like, wasn't really sold, play the demo. Oh my god, I got it immediately. Like it's
So I played a little bit of the demo, and look, I thought it was good, and I was into it. Had my eyes open for some scenes. Like, huh? Danny's not gonna walk in. What's next? But tell me where the why you're so excited. Like, where's the fandom coming from? Is it the
you
combat
haven't
that?
finished the demo.
Okay. Is it like the
It
combat
was-
boss fights? Is it?
It's kind of everything, yeah. So when you finish the demo, the iconic challenge opens up, which is kind of giving you a slice of gameplay, how its combat's gonna be when you start getting
Okay.
all the stuff. And it's made by the Devil May Cry guy, so it's very like there's a lot going on. There's a lot that you can do with it. But also the story at the end of the demo that was just like, here's the intro, welcome to Final Fantasy 16, was like the most gut-wrenching experience I think I've had in a video game in many,
man.
many,
Oh,
many,
okay, no
Wow.
spoilers.
many
Okay.
years. And the voice acting is incredible. Like they're not just doing like I'm angry screaming, they're doing like I'm a broken man screaming. And there's a difference in that kind of thing. So yeah, the story there, definitely the intro is very cutscene heavy because it's literally the beginning of the game. So they're setting up the world and the characters.
And your progress
Which
in
is
the
why
demo
you're-
carries through to the full game,
That's
right?
why
you
it's
play.
so good.
Yeah, okay,
because you are playing this very cutscene heavy intro, but once you play the game next week, you only have to wait a week, and you're jumping right into the next part of the
You don't
story,
have
so
to
you don't
play
have to
that
do
through
all of that
again.
again. Yeah, it's something special. They got something special going on. It's not just a good game. They've got
Sweet.
something real special.
And then
You've got,
Final
like, Devil May
Fantasy
Cry
VII
combat and
Rebirth
Kai-
coming out in 2024. We got to see the trailer for that. And
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
excited for that.
Did you guys? I know Watts, you loved. What was it called? Remake. Did anybody else play it here? Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was fantastic.
Oh, I played a little bit of it.
I played some of it. Yeah.
And
So good.
to see what they're doing in the trailer, we talk about this on SideQuest. So if you want to watch SideQuest from last week with Fran Marabella, we had a great time. We talked quite a bit about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But yeah, I loved Final Fantasy Remake so much that like I immediately wanted to play Rebirth, and I can't wait to see what they do with Rebirth. And I didn't even like Final Fantasy VII. I think that game sucks. It's boring. And fucking Cloud is a bitch. Anyhow, Gator says, since this is a Destiny podcast, do real aliens exist or just another TikTok trend? Curious.
Oh, is this about like how there's footage of aliens in like Arizona or something? Something about that.
I do believe that there's something out there that's not us for sure.
Yeah.
Like, are you
has to
saying?
be.
Are you saying though? Like, chances are there's something out there, or you believe?
No, I believe.
You
yeah.
believe.
Whether it's like the TV depiction Slender Man thing, I don't know. It could just be people that look like us that are infiltrating
definitely
our
believe, yeah.
stuff and fucking with things.
There's lots of stuff out there, right? To think that I am the only intelligent life form and all this stuff.
It seems unlikely.
It seems
And it-
unlikely.
yeah, like
Yeah.
But
in universe.
just as unlikely is that anything that is
Find us. Yeah.
anything that is further than like the next star closer is ever going to get here because the amount of time it would take, even at like light speed travel, is like boggles the mind. Like it's not realistic. So it's very likely that even if there are millions of other civilizations out there, the Fermi paradox, there's whole things written about the Fermi paradox and like why even if there are millions of other civilizations out there, we'll never know about them because the amount of space between them would just be unbelievable, and the amount of time that our universe has existed for means that civilizations could have come and gone a million times over,
Yeah.
and again never come in contact with each other.
We still don't
I'm-
really know what black holes do though. Really.
Okay.
We don't even know what's in the ocean, man. We don't even know what's in the ocean.
Right. I
It's
feel
true.
like I'm kind of on the other end of all of that. Like it's more like, you said like the possibility that like there has to be something out there, and I'm kind of like it's a miracle that I'm here at all, sort of deal. And so like because of that, it's like, could it even be possible for all these things to line up for somebody else somewhere? Like you have infinite possibilities for it to happen. So maybe, and I feel like Mulder, like I want to believe,
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah, I
don't know, but
definitely
I
want
feel like
to.
I land on the more skeptical side.
Does anyone else like when I'm feeling down? I like to watch those like TikToks about how big the universe is and like how far everything is. And it actually makes me feel better when you like realize that we're just this tiny little speck.
Nothing
Yeah.
What does that
matters,
make
so
you-
That
fuck
nothing
it.
matters.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
Yeah. Like,
it.
I'm on a podcast about Destiny and his infinite ocean. You know, it's
I
like
think that fucks with my head even more. It's like, well, what's even the point? You know?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can go
it's
either
like-
way for me too. Like
It can go
sometimes I
either
get,
way, for
yeah,
sure.
I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. Sometimes I go the other way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what do I even bother for? It's all meaningless.
It is kind of nice to think that like your only goal in life really is to be happy, have fun, and like enjoy your time here. You don't have to do this like mega super important thing.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy. And
Yeah.
I really
Then you
think
leave.
the big one is like to like try and make other people's lives awesome and like
Yeah.
just kind of spread that
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, like especially if you got kids, just try and like help them out as much as you can and like what else could you possibly do that's going to be a better impact or like be a longer lasting legacy than that, you know, is just have a positive influence on people around you.
It doesn't always make me want to like change anything that I'm doing when I get like real big picture with it and like expand my thought about it, but it does make me thankful usually. Like I'm like, oh wow, like I'm so lucky to have like all these friends and like these things that I get to do and like be on this podcast and that kind of stuff. And so in that sense, I like looking at the big picture and be like, oh wow, I'm really small, but like I still get to do all this cool stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel really lucky sometimes.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, definitely. Super lucky.
Sir says, Sir Guchin here. You're planning an elaborate bank heist. What two characters from Destiny are you picking to join your crew? Definitely Cade. Definitely
Bro.
the Drifter.
yeah, that's the answer.
hold on.
Drifter.
You need some muscle. Get Cuddle in there too to knock down some doors.
She does do that.
Okay.
Cuddle would
Not
be
very
good.
not very sneaky, but yeah. she'd
Yeah.
Get the job done.
Yeah, but that's like.
I don't know if
guns
you
blazing
gotta
in
be
the
sneaky
end
if
of-
you're Kaido, though.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Rams in the front door. Bing. Just bong. Bang.
Last question of the night. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just imagine the space runner storms through the front door, like you're taking cover, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then Kate and Drifter are like sneaking in, getting the goodies.
My weapons are
Right.
not powered by light, so I'm not going to even bother shooting.
No, not against space runner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hugo Rune 79 says, would you rather have a nose that could dispense any condiment of your choice or be able to communicate with squirrels, but only on Tuesdays? Definitely on squirrels. How often do I find
Squirrel.
myself being like, God damn, I have no mustard. I really need mustard. Never.
True. Yeah.
Never.
Mm.
The
When it's
only
Sting coming
time,
out,
the
Little
only time
vinegary.
is when you get takeaway or something, and you've got like chips, and you've gotten like the
Yes.
whatever like special sauce from that place is, and then they forget to put the sauce in the bag. You're like, damn it. That might be the only time you want something coming out of your nose, but
Yeah.
See, that's what I was thinking. Is like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
true.
just anytime I got chips on, I'm like, oh, Torchy's queso, just like
Dude.
use it out, and
Guacamole.
then-
You know, actually,
or,
if you could just
guac,
stick
or
fries
even-
up your nose instead of having like a ketchup dip thing, you
Oh, that'll work.
just like
Well, I
stick
was
it up there,
thinking-
put it directly in your mouth. Like it's so convenient and mess free, right? Like you're not gonna ever get like ketchup on your shirt because it's just
That's just efficiency.
yeah.
Anytime you need barbecue sauce for Briar, it's just right there,
God damn
waiting
it, Lego!
for you.
Toxic son of a bitch. Can I just like inhale really hard and like get some of those juices to come down? Like, oh, this chicken's a little dry. It'd be nice to get some barbecue sauce up in here.
you know,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with talking to squirrels because I can go buy a goddamn condiment, but I can't talk to squirrels right
That's
now.
true.
Squeaker.
Well, like, what real
I wanna know
value
the-
does talking to squirrels get you?
They probably know all the juice
Yeah,
about the
that
neighborhood.
would have- Yeah.
I don't think they
They
know
got all
shit.
a lot.
They can hardly figure out how to get the bird feed out of the bird feeder. Like, they're pretty maxed out.
They steal all my bird food.
Have you seen Mark Rober's video on the squirrels?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it's
Great.
very good.
You should watch it.
All
They're
right.
Smarter than you think.
I don't think so. You know how many squirrels I've hit in the road? I've run over. It's got to be.
You're targeting them.
It's
It's
got to be more than 20 over the course of my lifetime. It's got to be.
You're like going off the road to get them. That's different.
Don't judge me. They're so close to the road. All right. Should we wrap this one up, guys?
Copy that.
All right. I feel like we did a decent job tonight. We really delved deep into Destiny topics and got to a greater understanding of each other.
And the universe.
And the
And the
universe.
And the universe,
And
yeah.
existential crisis.
Yes, that's true too. Thank you all for watching or listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.